Reddit, one of the biggest social media sites most famous for its intellectual titans that reside on there, is composed of many smaller subreddits. One such subreddit is r/Youtubedrama, which is the main topic of discussion for today. Now, it's no secret Redditors are looked down upon by many for a variety of reasons, such as being pretentious, egotistical, dishonest, tribalistic, and overall just really annoying and insufferable people. Sadly, r/Youtubedrama is no exception to this rule. From trying to slander big YouTubers like Wendigoon to justifying false flag attempts just because they disagree with a YouTuber politically to defending Keffals despite the overwhelming evidence against her, and many more things that make this subreddit such a cesspit. It's also kind of funny how the main view that this subreddit has on drama is that they hate it and it's low-hanging fruit for commentators. Sorry, they call them drama YouTubers, yet they engage in the exact same discourse. But that's a Reddit moment for you. Before we can talk about all that though, we have to talk about the origins of this subreddit and how it got to this point.
What we do here is go back.
Originally, this subreddit was more normal and reasonable, but it was very inactive. However, that all changed when the H-Bomber Guy Nation attacked. It all started when H-Bomber released a video about YouTube plagiarists, and one of the people that it listed was Internet Historian, due to the fact that he copied an article for his cave video script. When I first heard this, I immediately thought of Matthew Santoro, who was another YouTuber who did top 10s and came under similar fire for using listverse to make his videos without giving due credit, which erupted into a massive scandal. I don't even know why he didn't give credit, because his videos were transformative as they were. As in, he gave his own commentary and cracked jokes which helped set him apart from listverse. While he did and deserved flack for this, ultimately not much came of the situation long term and life continued on as normal. The same thing should have happened with Internet Historian, as while he should have given credit, his video went beyond and above with editing and everything else, so ultimately I don't really care at the end of the day. Obviously he was given some flack, but this isn't a career ender, especially with the high quality of content that he makes. Only guy who can make non-skippable ad reads, by the way. The way people were getting mad at him, you would have thought that he was just some random AI text-to-speech Minecraft power-core TikTok account shamelessly plagiarizing. I do think that Internet Historian should have acknowledged/apologized for the statement, even if it is just to say that he'll be linking sources in the description. But again, he still makes fire content, so no one's gonna care long term. Unfortunately for Internet Historian here, his fuck-up gave H-Bomber stands an opportunity to attack him because, as we all know, making one mistake means you're the next up-and-coming Hitler. Aside from the usual complaining on the former hell site known as Twitter, they somehow found out about r/Youtubedrama and used this subreddit as a point of attack on Internet Historian. If you sort by top uploaded posts on r/HBomberGuy2, r/Youtubedrama, you'll see a post calling Internet Historian a Nazi was the best proof they have nitpicking at jokes made in the 2016 era. One of the claims say shit like he had 420, which is a dog whistle because that's also Hitler's birthday. Damn, I guess that's why I keep seeing so many Nazis with bonds smoking weed. Guess it's their new dog whistle or something. They also keep talking about 420 Blaze it a lot. Blaze what? The Jews? You fascist pieces of shit. So much bigotry from weed smokers. Major yikers! Looking at this post some more, I'm baffled at how so many people took this seriously. They even cry about how he liked an Elon tweet / follows people they don't like and his Have a Hotel video. Get over yourself, man. That video was funny. These brave men and women risked their lives to keep people from getting AIDS at a pool, and you called them racist Nazis? The absolute audacity of these Redditors. Mauled more over ableism because he said the retard word or whatever. Also, we all know that when you like a tweet / follow someone, it's clearly because you 100% endorse everything that they do and not because you want to keep tabs on them. Especially when that same person follows 800-ish people. While I do think some of the stuff in hindsight that Internet Historian said is wild, it's unreal how we went from this dude is a plagiarist to this dude is a Nazi, especially for jokes made in the 2016 era, which was much more edgy and toxic. Do we consider people like iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, or Fitz to be racist Nazis just because of edgy stuff they said back then? Hell no! I get that you want to hate on him for plagiarizing or whatever, but you don't have to be uber tryhard sweating about it. You guys are eternally online Redditors under the delusion that you you are in a challenger elo game when you can't even climb out of bronze. After Brainybiscuit posted this thread and boasted about fighting off the haters, "Yas, queen, you go, girl," people started digging into their post history because they were acting all high and mighty on an ego trip overly Reddit karma, not to mention the fact that they were a head moderator at the time of making this post, and what they found was honestly something, to say the least. This person is apparently an unemployed loner who got dropped by a 3-person polycule. They also get a little freaky in the messages too, talking about masturbating and being a little kinky. Like, damn, who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. This bitch freaky as fuck. After seeing all this, the hate thread against Internet Historian makes so much more sense knowing that it came from a bitter, unstable Redditor at a dead end in their life, which brings us to their eventual meltdown. This person is mentally unstable trying to shit stir with YouTubers. You are definitely a reliable source of info. For sure, man. /S, because that's what all the Redditors like to say. There's also a post they had on Suicide Watch, which I will not comment on due to the volatile nature of the topic, and personally, I think that's a low blow, especially if it's your first interaction with them, even if they are an obnoxious Redditor. Which segues into our next part. So like I said before, Brainybiscuit's Reddit posts got attention after the Internet Historian one blew up from various people, one of which was Nicholas the Oreo, who had an initial livestream segment making fun of this Redditor, but he also brought up the Suicide Watch post, which again, I think was a dick move and uncalled for. Everything else was whatever. If Brainybiscuit wants to talk shit, they get shit back. But in my opinion, Suicide is a bit too touchy, personally for me. However, in a rare show of mercy from Nick, he decided to reach out and remove that segment from his original stream, even going so far as to get other people who covered it to remove their segments about that post.
I see where you're coming from, and wires got crossed. I shot a message over to Tom asking if he would take the video down. So then, I got Tom to take his video down. No one asked me to do this. I went out of my way to do this, and I got Tom to remove his segment.
However, despite this generous offer, Brainybiscuit was out for blood. After Oreo Man posted a tweet laughing at a Reddit post at people upset that Wendigoon took a picture with Turkey Tom, this prompted Brainybiscuit to DM Nick, claiming that his posting of the subreddit gets people harassed and doxxed, which will come into play later. After this, Nick shortly got banned and in the DMs with various Youtubedrama moderators. It was revealed that Brainy thought that Nick talked about the suicide post on Tom's livestream after DMing her that he took it down, when in reality he went on Tom's livestream, which Tom then re-uploaded, and he didn't know that. After that, Brainy seemed to calm down, so everything is A-OK, right? Well, Brainybiscuit also released a post after that comparing Lady Emily to themselves and outright saying that Oreo Man got her doxxed by Swordjack Party. Yet when we look at the raid thread, the link that they cite is from Reddit, not YouTube, meaning that it couldn't have been Nick fans doxing his other rights, it was sourced of the livestream he did on YouTube.
Reddit profile link. Wait a minute. The link that made this person find Brainybiscuit. Wait, we're not doing URR. Get out of here. No URR. Not that one either. Where's my... So this is the link that got Brainybiscuit doxxed. What was the link? This doesn't look like a link to my live stream. I'm so confused. My live stream isn't a Reddit link. Oh no. Wait, I'm so confused. How did they find Brainybiscuit? Oh, it was your post. Oh, fuck. So because you reposted my live stream and had a meltdown post and said that Kiwi Farms was coming to get you because I talked about you on stream, you caught the Soyjack message boards and they doxed you. Oh. Shit.
I don't really know much about the Lady Emily situation. Obviously, my heart goes out to her for being doxxed and harassed. But Brainy has been psychotically claiming that Nick has gotten them doxxed multiple times, when in reality, their incessant complaining on the subreddit did them in. At no point did the Oreo Man ever advocate for people to dox you. Your own complaining and freaking out on a random 20-minute stream segment shit-talking you after you shit-talked other people is what did you in. Even other users in the raid thread reference your Reddit post. Brainy also lied in this post and claimed that they reached out to Nick to take down the Suicide Watch post when in reality it was the other way around. To make a long story short though, eventually Brainy stepped down from being a mod and left the internet until recently, which is probably the best case scenario for everyone. The new mods after Brainy left seem more stable, so that's something at least. It's just weird how someone who had no issue going through another person's past details all of a sudden got all offended when other people did the exact same thing to them. But I guess it's different when a Redditor does it, I guess. If you don't want people to see personal stuff like that, either delete it or don't post it at all. And I'm not talking about the r/suicide watch post when I say this, by the way. Now, while the internet historian / Brainybiscuit saga comes to a close, there is one other massive content creator that this sub seems to hate that is also universally liked, is Wendigoon. Now, this sub has hated Wendigoon for a while. As a matter of fact, Brainybiscuit also made a mega thread on Wendigoon, but it just boils down to, oh, he allegedly didn't do proper research for some videos, which is bush league to Nazi accusations, so I don't really care. This subreddit won't admit it, but they hate him because apparently he's secretly a bad person because he's Christian and has made Christian-related content. So basically, it's like the Kris Pratt situation where people hated him for being anti-LGBTQ, despite him never attending any anti-gay churches. Well, Youtubedrama has rallied around In Praise of Shadows, who, while making a video on bad conservative horror, decided to include a 40-minute segment where he disses Wendigoon and other content creators. He took it down by himself, which really reflects the quality of this video. While the video up to the Wendigoon part is whatever, as I'm not really interested about that part, you quickly notice that Shadow speaks in a condescending holier-than-thou attitude, which becomes apparent during the Wendigoon segment. There are some interesting things In Praise of Shadows does say before the Wendigoon segment, though. Apparently, part of why this video was made was because people kept shitting on his Hills Have Eyes video because he tried to claim that the cannibalistic monsters were actually oppressed minorities.
This is a film about cannibals killing and eating a family who get lost on their summer vacation. And psychologically, most when they watch this will be on the side of the vacationing family, and wish for them to survive and make it out and get back home. And why is that? Because if you look at this from the perspective of the hill people, they are only defending what is theirs, this land that they call home.
And the traveling family were the real villains for the crime of having their car break down and looking for their lost dog. I'm sure those cannibalistic monsters taught those crypto-fascist alt-right chuds a lesson they'll never forget. Seriously though, who the hell looks at a movie where cannibalistic savages kill and loot and says, yeah, these are some misunderstood people? Even the top comments make fun of this vid. He also complained about YouTube not making him enough money.
I don't think that most of them have actually even watched it. And I kind of want to look at this, because posting that video was a huge negative turning point in my life, and the way that that one video was received has really impacted everything around me. Before that, I was relatively comfortable financially. I could make the kinds of videos that I wanted to, and have honestly struggled very badly ever since then.
Well, after seeing your video, I can see why no one wants to view your channel, but guess what? How about you stop whining about how videos are so hard to make and no one gets you, and start filling out job applications? You alienate other people by saying shit like this.
Horror is an intrinsically left, punk, anti-establishment, countercultural art form that is primarily concerned with social issues and pushing boundaries beyond what is deemed acceptable by traditional, more conservative, polite society. There's no other way that you can rationally look at it and still exist within reality. Folks constantly talk about the political undertones of my videos, but horror is an unabashedly political genre that is concerned directly with issues facing the current society. And if you're in the horror space and you don't regularly acknowledge this foundation as a challenge to power, then I just assume you're in it for the money, or that you don't actually care, or you're just really bad at your job. And if that makes you uncomfortable or upset that I often do that in my videos, that's probably a good thing.
And then you wonder why nobody watches your channel anymore. Turns out only appealing to far left people doesn't bring in the views. Also, there's other things you can do to make money besides YouTube. I hear Mickey D's is great this time of year. Next time, get your money up, not your funny up.
You ain't nothing but a broke boy, 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 boy.
This dude also had a chance to get sponsor money, but he turned it all down.
I, as a blanket rule, have never accepted gifts or sponsorship for my work, even though I get a constant stream of email offers about them.
Obviously, I feel bad that you're struggling financially, dog shit videos aside. But come the fuck on. You had financial opportunities and you blew them away just so you can act out the tortured artist routine. You self-sabotaged by only appealing to fringe groups and turning down sponsor money. There's some other stuff where he talks about various producers and people. I'm not going to cover everything as the points there tie into the Wendigoon segment, but a key point was that he got mad at a producer for not caring about COVID, which was so generously framed as him wanting to kill people.
I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but at least to me, when I read that, it seems that he is implying that he did not care if his employees got COVID under his command and possibly died, so long as the product continued to get made and that he could get even more wealthy.
Yeah, imagine caring about COVID in 2022. Couldn't be me! The Wendigoon segment, to put it simply, was extremely poorly researched. While I won't go over every little detail as there are dedicated videos for that, some notable examples include his guilt by association power trip, far-right fear-mongering, and blatantly false info which accumulates into the most bad faith video I've seen in a while. Let's see why Wendigoon is such an evil monster. Shadows starts off the video by talking about how he can't relate to Wendigoon's reviews due to his background, which is dumb as fuck.
I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire who got famous around the age of 19. There are some works that fundamentally will not be understood by you if you are wealthy and have always been upper class your entire life. And this may all sound condescending, but that doesn't stop it from being somewhat true.
Rich people can't review media, ZZZ. Shadows then starts talking about how Wendigoon is a red flag because he owned guns and followed controversial accounts.
The first of which are the very strong beliefs that he seems to hold as important, that are in my opinion the antithesis of what horror should be about. There are many things that are red flags that we could talk about, from the bizarre gun ownership, the flagrant use from my perspective of his religion as a shield from criticism, to the belief that he at one point followed many far-right accounts on Twitter, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Parler, the social media website where the January 6th insurrection was in part planned. People said, oh, he only followed them. But that doesn't mean that he agrees with them. But there are screenshots of tweets that may have been deleted, that clearly in my mind show a support to Rittenhouse. Although, since I did not take these screenshots, they do have to be taken with a grain of salt.
Guys, gun bad lol, so Wendigoon bad XD. Also, imagine trying to follow police someone with 500-ish followers. That's pretty sad. And how does he even use religion as a shield? Have any proof? Also, Rittenhouse acted in self-defense, as proven by a court of law. Hell, even one of the star witnesses of the prosecution admitted that it was self-defense, which is what that tweet was referencing.
Natalie Jessup, good evening. Gage Grosskreutz was the most anticipated witness of the trial so far. He's the man who confronted Kyle Rittenhouse after the first shooting, was shot in the arm and survived. Now, the state claimed that Grosskreutz did not pose a threat to Rittenhouse when he confronted him in the street, that he even had his hands up at one point. But he did have a pistol in one of those hands, and the defense proved that got Grosskreutz to admit that Rittenhouse did not fire at him until he lowered his hands and pointed the gun.
Obviously, when a prosecution is hinting this horribly, people are going to think that Kyle is innocent. I mean, the prosecution's star witness admitted this himself, so why can't Wendigoon? The video gets more unhinged as Zane here tries connecting Wendigoon with the Boogaloo Boys.
We could talk about his past and supposedly being a founding member in an online conspiracy theory group that, according to him, snowballed out of control into being a white supremacist neo-Nazi organization called the Boogaloo Boys. His online username at the time was Boogaloo Boy, and he claims to be the first to have started using it, but that he left the group and became Wendigoon after things started to get out of hand. And this is not a conspiracy theory in itself. Shockingly, he literally has said so in writing, as you'll see.
Yeah, epic own. He left the group when it got unhinged. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Leave extremist groups? What did Wendigoon do wrong in this case?
Also, it should be noted that the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts, and guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt, despite the fact that he publicly totally does not share in their beliefs, guys.
Dude, you're also wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Got something you'd like to confess, far-right gun nut? Why would you even say this when you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt yourself? That's a self-report if I've ever seen one. Your crypto-fascist, alt-right chud bigotry is showing. Also, recently, Willie Mac Show asked Wendigoon about the Boogaloo Boys, and this was his response.
My whole thing is instead of speculating this guy's apparel, why not just reach out to him and ask him questions? So I did. He said he worked at a gun store, he liked guns, so he made a meme page about guns. Around 2019, 2020, the joke became super serious to some people, who began to see it as a for the people movement, which was fine at first, but then people began to apply it to whatever their political stance was, and it became a mess. So he left.
So this message matches up with Wendigoon's old Reddit post. He made a group got hijacked by political nut jobs, he left. It's not his fault that nutty people joined.
So, do you remember when armed men were arrested a few years ago for planning the kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmire? That was the Boogaloo's. Do you remember when white people showed up at the George Floyd protests and caused property damage and violence in the hopes that black people would be blamed for that? That was the Boogaloo's. A great deal of their members were spotted in the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. In 2020, they killed several police officers in a drive-by shooting in Oakland, hoping that black people would be blamed for the violence, in an attempt to create racial tension.
Taking what you said about the Boogaloo Boys at face value here, Wendigoon left before all of that nasty shit happened. This dude's acting like Wendigoon was at each of those events. Prove Wendigoon supports any of this right now. Oh wait, you can't!
Wendigoon and I are practically neighbors, and I know this area very well. Okay, so I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and between that and the reservation, you have the community of Lake Junaluska, which isn't actually even a real town. You can walk across the whole thing in a matter of minutes. You got Waynesville, you have Maggie Valley, and a few other small drive-by communities. And beyond that is the Cherokee Reservation. Wendigoon lives somewhere just on the other side of the reservation. That is not me doxing him. He has said many times publicly that he lives in East Tennessee, and I'm not even saying what town he lives in. According to the latest census, there are only 23 black people who live in Maggie Valley. There are 15 Native Americans despite it touching the reservation. Most of this area used to be sundown towns. It is about as white as you could possibly get. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise.
Dude, I know exactly what you mean! Every time I pass by the town of Detroit, I assume that every black person is gonna steal my wallet unless proven otherwise. But for real though, it's crazy how you instantly make assumptions on someone based simply on location and not how they interact with other races. He lived there and he white, so he racist. You know, there is a word used to describe someone who has prejudice against a group of people simply based on location. If only I could think of that word right now, though. Also, didn't you say that you live in the same area as Wendigoon? But let me guess, you're one of the good whites. You would never lie about other people by calling them far-right gun nut rapists. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Then of course, there is his username. To the Algonquin people, the Wendigo is a negative spiritual symbol that is to be avoided and whose name is to never even be said out loud or written down. So I know there's a bit of a hypocrisy there on my part, but we kind of do have to say it for academic purposes, so apologies for that.
Yeah, I can't anymore. This is a 2016 argument about cultural appropriation. Also, there's nothing academic about YouTube beef.
But don't you think it is extremely weird and off-putting that all of his fans call him Dad? Isn't that really strange?
I think it's a little bit weird, yeah. But are you trying to imply something? Spit it out, man. You're acting like Wendigoon is some sort of Minecraft YouTuber. This dude's so disingenuous to Wendigoon that when Wendigoon followed him, he considered it a silent threat.
Right in the midst of this going on, a very funny thing happened, and that Wendigoon followed me on Twitter. I was not following him at the time. He never publicly told people to stop calling me a faggot. He never once reached out to me privately, but he did follow me, which means in my eyes that he 100% knew what was happening because I did tweet about it several times, and then followed me to let me know that he knew, and that he was watching and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. What other motivation could he have had there to follow me in that specific moment, other than to be a method of quiet and deniable intimidation? What other way could that have been read from my perspective? That was the moment that pushed me over the edge to make this video.
Yeah, it turns out the reason why Wendigoon followed you was because he actually liked one of your videos. Awkward! Mind equals controlled. Next time, take your meds, schizo. As if lying about Wendigoon wasn't enough, Zane also decided to extend this courtesy to other content creators. Some notable content creators who caught strays are Brennan Buckingham, Turkey Tom, Oompaville, Mudahar, Shoeonhead, and many more as far-right extremist YouTubers who associate with Wendigoon, making Wendigoon a far-right extremist by extension. Unfortunately for Zane here, the proof that he uses to back up these claims is dog shit. This whole video is just a dumpster fire of no research research done and him just making assumptions about a whole bunch of people and praying that they're right. Before we start though, I want you to keep this clip in mind.
I promise that this video is not going to turn into a list of people who annoyed me on Twitter.
So that was a fucking lie.
In my opinion, there is a regular pattern of behavior there, from supporting Rittenhouse to having multiple ties to other far-right extremist figures, that I think a clear picture is painted that he does not mean this as a communist kind of thing, and seemingly more so means people as a very select group. Wendigoon is very publicly friends with Turkey Tom. They have been seen together on multiple occasions, and I've seen online mentions that Tom was either at his wedding or at the very least was invited. Tom has been accused of using the N-word multiple times in private conversations, including these screenshots of texts that are alleged to be real. And he has also been accused of saying that the upper tiers of his Patreon were intended for Jews with deep pockets.
Tom did say those messages. You would know if you actually did an iota of research, and I can't believe that a then high schooler would say such insensitive things in a private server. Those messages will haunt Tom for the rest of his life. Also, what's wrong with wanting Jews with deep pockets to fund your Patreon? I want Jews with deep pockets to fund my stuff. Maybe if you had Jews with deep pockets fund your Patreon, you wouldn't be so broke. Have you ever considered that?
You ain't nothing but a broke boy, 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 boy.
But for real, if any Jews with deep pockets are out there, hit me up.
Wendigoon is publicly connected to the Internet Historian, and has even appeared in his videos. The Internet Historian publicly said that his birthday was April 20th. It is not, and has only said that as a joke because that is Hitler's birthday.
I heard that when they say 420 Blaze It, they're talking about the Jews.
Wendigoon is publicly friends with Donut Operator, and even retweeted a photograph of the two of them hugging. Donut Operator is a gun-crazed, very far-right YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, whose career consists of him reviewing footage of police officers shooting and killing people. He was once a cop himself, before he made more money making YouTube videos and retired. His content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled, "Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face," and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops, with the text that reads, "Head removal."
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today. The main shooting just warms my heart.
And you know, for someone who supposedly is so very anti-government, Wendigoon seems very comfortable with a man who makes his living worshipping violence committed by the state. He's a man of no conviction, claiming to be very against the government and for the rights of the people, while at the same time giving a warm embrace to one of the biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet. And the only thing that one could reasonably gather from this picture of them hugging is that he too is a fascist bootlicker himself.
Apparently, Donut Operator can't be happy that a predator who was molesting his 7-year-old daughter got shot by police after drawing a gun on them. Yeah, how dare Donut Operator be happy that a predator is dead after drawing a gun out on police and can't reoffend ever again. If you're a far-right fascist bootlicker for being happy that someone who preyed on a 7-year-old is dead, fuck it, man. I'm a far-right fascist bootlicker. Sue me. Imagine being happy that a pedo died. Truly no convictions whatsoever. What a fucking bootlicker, am I right? Obviously, watching the raw footage of that, I was like, damn, that sucks for him, I guess. But I'm obviously not going to lose any sleep or feel bad over an EDP getting their 7-year-old cupcake diet replaced with a lead one. Between this and attacking Kyle when one of the people that he smoked was a mini lad, this doesn't look good for you. I'm not trying to imply anything, but this isn't a good look. Just to be clear, I don't think Shadows is a pedo or a pedo defender, even with that mustache of his. I just think he's very stupid and political brained.
He has collaborated with Nick Crowley, who constantly makes money through the most morbid and shameful true crime content, of showcasing the last minutes of people before they are suddenly and unexpectedly killed.
Dog, what do you expect? It's true crime. Obviously the content is going to be horrific.
He is publicly friends with Shoe on Head, who is a conservative masquerading as a leftist, who has built a career off of lazy anti-woke content, complaining about SJWs, who says stuff like, Karl Marx rising from the grave finding out his movement has been taken over by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers.
Apparently Shoe on Head is far right for making fun of leftists not working out. Looking at you, I can see why you personally felt attacked by that statement. I thought this wasn't going to be a video about people who annoyed you on Twitter.
I promise that this video is not going to turn into a list of people who annoyed me on Twitter. He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape.
Brandon isn't a gun YouTuber, and peddling false rape accusations made up by Sneeko isn't a good look. This dude couldn't even take the time to verify if a career-ending accusation was true or not.
He is friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of Nakado Avocado's mental decline for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate.
Oompaville is just a moist critical-esque clone, hardly the far-right figure you make him out to be, and Nikocado Avocado is a fully grown man who is playing a character who can choose what he wants to do. Also, Oompa did his Andrew Tate interview before the whole human trafficking event, and to retroactively criticize him for this is stupid.
He is friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media websites, and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video.
Muta has also been critical of Tate, and his tweet was made before the 2023 sex trafficking allegations. The thumbnail art isn't transphobic, as the artist draws everyone ugly and Keffals doesn't get a pass just because she's trans. It's funny how people say trans people are equal and then get mad when an artist draws a trans person like he draws everyone else.
He has publicly interacted in a friendly way with the account Rock Solid on multiple occasions, and with just a quick look at their profile, I saw them liking anti-trans posts and neo-Nazi content.
Hey man, didn't you say that this video wasn't going to be about people who annoy you on Twitter? Because you are currently molding at a shit poster. And how are any of the posts shown here anti-trans or neo-Nazi content? Because the first post is about Indian gang rapes, which is true by the way. Second post is apparently someone countering ad hominem, but Zane here doesn't even show the context. Please explain how this is anti-trans or neo-Nazi content. The very last message is a meme post calling Hitler autistic. Real neo-Nazi hours here.
He has interacted positively with Garant Thumb, who has said, "The traditional family should be encouraged and strengthened. I see little to no support from the government or big media."
Dude, I can't take this anymore. You went from shooting your shot to massive YouTubers to beefing with random Twitter account number 995. Also, did Garand ever say anything truly vile and bad here? A traditional family, aka nuclear family, is a stable family type that has been around for a long while now, so obviously it works and is extremely stable.
He has said anti-trans statements.
Show the anti-trans statements right now. Oh wait, you can't.
He has called people degenerates.
Okay, and
has said that non-traditional sexual interactions are a disgusting, hedonistic lifestyle. That is the breakdown of the family unit.
I mean, swinging is kinda disgusting. Personally, I wouldn't word it like that, but you are more likely to get STDs on the basis of fucking more people, so... After looking at the people that he criticizes here, I'm noticing a pattern where he either overblows a joke or he says a point and moves on right after without properly explaining it. There's also a bunch of blatantly false info, the false rape accusation being the most prominent. But do you guys want to know why Zay made this dogshit video aside from being mind controlled into thinking that a Wendigoon follow means CIA gang stalkers come and call you slurs? I shit you not, he made this entire Wendigoon segment to keep horror pure because after all, we must secure the existence of our people and a future for horror content. Hail Zane!
So what if he's a conservative? Is that a problem? Which the answer to that is yes.
Yeah guys, 50% of the population is a problem and my side's right. But he's right though. Shut the fuck up.
But the reason that I care is because this does not belong in horror. Or anywhere. I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does has demonstrated so far in his career that he should not be welcomed in our spaces.
Why? Because of your hit piece on multiple people that is best case poorly researched and worst case downright malicious to the point of defamation and slander? Also, considering the current state of your career, it looks like you're the one who's not welcome anywhere. To make a long story short, Zane deleted the video and issued an apology on Twitter, which to put it simply, was ass cheeks, no cap. He apologizes to Brandon about using a picture of his grandfather in a false rape accusation. However, Zane backhands in his apology a little bit when he said that he wrote off Brandon just because of the people he hung out with, completely ignoring the issue that had poor research and pushed a false rape accusation that was already debunked. Zane also calls Brandon homophobic for calling him low testosterone. Initially, I thought that Brandon called you an F-slur or something, but homophobic over low testosterone? Seriously? You do realize that straight men can also have low testosterone, right? I would say that you are a prime example of this, but considering how hard you're pushing a homophobic argument, I think you might be a little zesty instead. He then calls Muta's thumbnail art transphobic while not explaining himself. Bro, how are you a video essayist and you can't explain stuff? Isn't that your field of expertise? Yapping? He then says that it's dangerous that there is a man in horror that you cannot criticize without being called an F-slur for days on end, and that is a serious issue. Why didn't you make the videos about the toxic fans then? Assuming they're actually real in the first place. It would have been miles better than slandering Wendigoon and his friends. Zane also claims that the bulk of what he said wasn't addressed. Dude, you lied about a bunch of content creators being far-right gun nuts for clout and even falsely accused one of them of rape. You just simply can't be trusted, so nothing you say holds any value. Also, I've been debunking all the shit you said in your video, so that's a lie. He also blames conservatives for his woes, like the average person also can't see that he's terminally online before saying that he's taken a month off. Didn't you say earlier that you were hard-pressed for money? If you felt that you have been mischaracterized, everyone felt like they were mischaracterized. Zane wraps up his apology by talking about horror being about kindness and love. No, it's about scaring the shit out of people. Maybe if you stop huffing your own farts you would realize this, or better yet, never make this video. He also had other posts on YouTube, Patreon, and Discord, but they all emulate the same unwillingness to acknowledge fault. Even going so far as to say that he just worded things wrong, and not the fact that he slandered a bunch of creators due to some insane political meltdown. Believe it or not, when your small mistakes are the entirety of your video, it adds up. This is what happens when you engage in team sports politics, people. Never make this mistake. So that long tangent was nice and all, but how does r/YouTubedrama relate to this? Well, they were upset actually that Zane removed the video and backtracked. Even after deleting the Wendigoon segment from his video and making a Twitter thread apologizing for the mistakes he made in said video, In Praise of Shadows is still being brutally attacked and harassed by Wendigoon friends and fans. Wendigoon, meanwhile, is acting like everything is normal. I like how they claim that Zane is being harassed. In the first screenshot they show is Mutahar wishing him the best. Most of the other screenshots are Brandon flaming Zane, which is understandable considering how he lied about him being a rapist. So that's justified. Then there's Muta explaining how Zane was bad faith in his video, which is apparently harassment. Maybe if he didn't want to be brutally attacked by Wendigoon friends and fans, then he shouldn't have lied so much in his video. Yes, I know Wendigoon had his YouTube comment where he encouraged his fans to not attack this person. However, you are ignoring the fact that it's not just Wendigoon who is slandered. Brandon Buckingham, Oompaville, SomeOrdinaryGamers, Shionhead, and Donut Operator are some of the people off the top of my head that I know Zane also dissed, and they are massive content creators. Even if all the people in Zane's video explicitly told their fans not to harass him, the sheer number of people Zane pissed off is still massive. He's gonna get dogpiled regardless. Also, it's funny that these Redditors cry about harassment when they were perfectly fine with Zane lying about a bunch of people and having his fans attack them. I know this because he called all of them far-right gun nuts, basically. So if his fans did harass them, it would be perfectly justified since they're far-right. Also notice how OP or anyone in the comments can't actually prove why the messages are harassment. They just circle jerk each other because they desperately want any jab at Wendigoon. It's funny how these Redditors go on about accountability for your actions, yet when someone they like is receiving accountability, they cry about harassment. Zane simply fucked around and found out. They even comment on how Zane shouldn't have deleted the video and just remade it instead, saying how Wendigoon deserves criticism, since apparently how Zane messing up just gave those morons ammo. Yo, dumbass, maybe don't throw together a poor hit piece lying about people being far-right gun nut rapists and you won't get backlash. Maybe these morons wouldn't have so much ammo if you actually did your research. What he endured was truly vile. Oh, shut the fuck up was the pity party. If his dysfunctional video somehow took off positively, I promise that Zane and his fans wouldn't be any more accommodating with their harassment towards them. Also, he never actually properly apologized and took accountability, so why should he be forgiven? To add insult to injury, apparently people are legitimately arguing that since Brandon called Zane fat on Twitter, that somehow excuses the fact that he levied false rape accusations because, as we all know, rape accusations, which can destroy careers, carry the exact same weight as people thinking that you're fat. I also love how in the first comment, the Redditor seems more concerned that Zane seemed like a Sneeko supporter and not the fact that he couldn't even fact check false rape accusations. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Redditor crying about fat being an insult has a BMI of 60. Fucking earthquake every time this motherfucker walks. Boom! 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 Take cover, guys! It's a 7.8er on the Richter scale! If you're willing to just willy-nilly launch false rape accusations without proper researching, then it's not surprising that people don't take you seriously. It also ties into the rest of the points he made against other people, just firing off point after point without explaining himself because he did very little research. This whole situation really goes to show just how politically tribalistic r/YouTubedrama is. A left-wing creator makes a poorly researched hit piece on Wendigoon and various other content creators, even going so far as to peddle false rape accusations. When he predictably gets backlash for this, they claim it's valid to do so and that the person making stuff up is the real victim here. There's other incidents of this happening where this subreddit gives atrocious behavior a pass just because it appeals to their political echo chambers, which I will talk about later on, of course. Also, while I was making this video, literally tonight, I saw a post where they still try and defend Zane despite the fact that they fully admit that Zane's video was petty and had poor research just because they don't like Wendigoon fans. I also like how the follow-up comment agrees that Zane did a poor job on his video, yet when Wendigoon fans agree with his statement, they get all offended. I'm not saying that you guys have to like Wendigoon. I'm sure he's done some bad stuff. But can you guys just stop trying to make every YouTuber you have a bone to pick with into the next Austrian painter, please? On another topic though, this subreddit also has a notorious habit of acting holier than thou while doing zero research on a topic, so basically just acting like your standard tier redditors. We already saw this with Wendigoon where they brushed aside all of Zane's shitty talking points and his half-ass apology just so they could get in licks on Wendigoon. When Turkey Tom made a video on Twomad that got taken down for, at the time, unknown reasons, you knew Youtubedrama had to be all up in that biz. Especially since they have a chip on their shoulder against the turkey. He will never live down those high school DMs. Someone makes a post basically implying that Tom is defending Twomad with his title. So obviously they haven't watched the video. If you also haven't watched Tom's Twomad video, he basically just goes over the history of Twomad and his tragic drug usage which led to his death and how that affected other people. He even extensively covers the allegations against Twomad, which another redditor admits. At no point in the video does Tom justify anything Twomad did during his drug binge or support him. You would know this if you actually watched the video, but no, everyone just assumes the worst simply because of their biases. While I get it if you guys don't like people, but why the fuck are you acting like some sort of authority figure on this topic that you admitted that you haven't even seen? Typical redditor ego. The Turkey Tom and Twomad video was a lighter example, but it shows an overarching pattern where they instantly make assumptions and treat it as fact.
My life is like a video game, trying hard to beat the stage.
Like I said before, r/Youtubedrama is extremely politically tribalistic, which is typical for a Reddit echo chamber. We mainly saw this with Wendigoon versus In Praise of Shadows, but there are so many other examples of them downplaying atrocious deeds just because the perpetrators share their same political beliefs. One example of this is with Sweet Baby Inc., which gained massive controversy a while back because a Steam group listed out the games they worked on. Keep in mind, Sweet Baby Inc. themselves also let people know what games they work on, so it's pretty obvious that the way the Steam group knew about the games was through Sweet Baby Inc. itself. However, when one of the Sweet Baby employees found out about this Steam group, he decided to take the extremely mature approach of dealing with it by openly encouraging people to try and take down the group in the creator's Steam account by saying it was harassment. Even though simply listing games doesn't qualify as harassment, believe it or not, which is the purpose of the Steam group. I thought you guys wanted all the extra attention on the games you worked on. Isn't this free advertising? I thought you guys were proud of your work. Or are you guys trying to hide it from other people? As a result of this tweet, obviously it blew back up at Sweet Baby Inc. because trying to get a Steam group flag down over listing what games you have worked on as well, quite fucked. There's so many other ways to deal with this, like simply ignoring the Steam group. If the flagging attempt never happened, it would have been just another random Steam group and no one would have known about this. Before that day, 99% of people would have never known what a Sweet Baby Inc. was. Someone needs to let its kindred know what the Streisand effect is ASAP. Obviously, once Youtubedrama got their grubby little hands on it, their response was typical. They immediately tried to downplay the drama by saying it's not that bad and it's the dumbest series of events. Content creators eat good on outrage. These people have never heard of the Streisand effect and it shows. Apparently, the reasons behind Gamergate 2 are just as dumb and as stupid how blown up this controversy is. Hey, maybe don't have a notable member of a company advocating for Steam groups to be taken down over listing what games your company worked on and then try and get people to mass flag the dude's Steam account. Do you guys even understand how petty you have to be to try and take down a Steam account of all things? I could understand flagging a YouTube channel or Twitter, even if the reasoning is BS, but a Steam account? You tweaking or some shit? This just looks like you're trying to hide something and are willing to play dirty to achieve your goals. Obviously, people are going to get pissed at this. Yeah, I think that mentioning Gamergate 2 is super corny. Let that die in 2014, please. But that does not excuse its kindred's actions. Before I get anyone saying that this group engages in harassment, this is the pinned post on the Steam group Sweet Baby Inc. detected regarding the controversy in which a creator says that it's only to keep tabs on what SBI worked on and disavows bigotry. Clearly, an alt-right crypto-fascist incel, neo-Nazi, dog whistle. Also, the It's Kindred dude is a complete weirdo who, aside from getting people to mass flag a Steam group / account for the terrible crime of highlighting what games a company has worked on, also tried to diss Akira Toriyama after his tragic death. Toriyama gave us the best and worst black characters in anime in the same series. It took range to do that, basically implying that he was racist for certain character designs. Aside from the obvious insensitivity of trying to imply that someone was racist right after they die, this post is quite over-exaggerated. Now, we all know that when racism is brought up in this context, it's about Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo isn't racist because he's not meant to be a black person. He's a genie and not even meant to be human. Sure, the fact that it looks like blackface is unfortunate, but this wasn't made with racist intentions. The average Japanese person didn't even know what a black person was back then, much less how to be racist towards them. Saying Mr. Popo represents blackface is like saying coal miners do blackface. Keep in mind, this insensitive-ass tweet was made right after his false flag operation on the Steam group failed, and he got temporarily suspended for that, so yeah, I guess he can't help himself. Another instance of r/Youtubedrama being really tribalistic is with the IllyMations versus Think Before You Sleep drama. For some background context, IllyMation is a storytime animator and Think Before You Sleep is a commentary channel. Think Before You Sleep made a video covering Illy's fat kid video, calling her out. Looking at Illy's video, it's about her experience as being a fat kid. Obviously, it starts off with her talking about her experience being bullied for being fat when she was little. Then she talks about her experience dieting and how despite having a health trainer / working out, she never lost any weight. Finally, Illy wraps up the video trying to redefine healthy and saying how you should accept who you are. After seeing the video, while I do sympathize with her overall message of just accepting yourself even if you're fat, like if you want to live like that, fine, it's your life, but you cannot deny the objective fact that being fat is unhealthy and leads to health problems. No, I'm not talking about if you're just a little bit overweight, but like Nikocado avocado fat. There are some things I disagree with in her video though. The first part is she talks about not losing weight while working out with a trainer.
I started dieting. I found a gym, I found a personal trainer, and I got to work. And after a month of working out for 3 days a week, 45 minutes at a time, doing cardio, abs, arms, legs, as well as going to cycling and/or yoga class once a week for an hour, I lost 0 pounds? How? I was doing everything right. Calories in, calories out, more greens, less takeout, gym membership, personal trainer. This made no sense. Unless maybe I just wasn't working hard enough. Maybe I wasn't serious enough. Maybe I just wasn't good enough. And I was too far gone to be fixed.
While that may be true, at the same time she also talks about how her trainer said she improved in certain areas, which means that despite no weight loss, she was getting healthier. Illy even admits this herself.
But my personal trainer assured me that I was doing great. I might not have seen the scale move or felt like my clothes fit better, but from her perspective, she noticed an improvement in my posture. She saw my energy and endurance had increased too. Even the way I talked about life, I was noticeably less stressed. And although I did agree with her, my back wasn't hurting as much, I was getting better sleep, and my mood did recover faster when shit did hit the fan. I told her thank you for the reassurance, but I still didn't like how I looked, and I was scared I never would.
My best guess as to why this happened is that her fat just started becoming muscle. There's also a statement she has towards the end that I found questionable.
A carrot isn't an inherent good food, while chocolate is an inherent bad food. Food is just food, no matter how many calories, carbs, sugars, whatever is in it. Unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow, you should feel free to eat whatever food you want to without beating yourself up about it.
I'm sorry, but that statement is just stupid. Carrots are objectively much more healthier than chocolate. I don't even know why this is somehow controversial. Different foods have different levels of nutrition, and it makes sense to usually pick food with better nutrition, even if you're approaching this from a moral angle. Yeah, don't shame people who want to eat chocolate over carrots, but one is healthier than the other. I'm glad that Illy accepts herself how she is, but she says some objectively wrong things in this video. Like I said before, Think Before You Speak also made a video about this. Obviously, Lily heard back about this video and she was faced with several options. Does she A, ignore it? Or B, make a video debunking Think Before You Sleep's video? If you chose C, try and privately get people to mass flag his video to take it down, you'd be correct. Yes, that's right. Instead of taking a level-headed approach to defuse or resolve this situation, Illy opts to go nuclear. As a result, think before you sleep and other people decide to talk about it, because trying to get YouTube videos false flagged is one of the biggest cardinal sins a content creator can make. Now, for the record, I don't really care for Think Before You Speak. I've seen a couple of his videos, and while I think that they're meh, dude is definitely right-wing, and whenever he talks about wokeness, that gets an eye roll from me. Also, he sounds and acts like the living embodiment of the nerd emoji, which is really annoying and my biggest gripe with him. But ultimately, I don't really like or dislike him. I think he's whatever. I also have some complaints about his video on Illy. In his video, he had a tangent where he described her looks and what she could have done to improve it.
At the end of 2022, I was nominated for a Streamy Award in the animation category. So I got to walk the Streamy's red carpet and attend the awards ceremony, which was a blast. But when all the photos came out, I felt that oh so familiar lava flow of shame consume me. I hated how wide my legs were when I posed. I hated that squishy part under my chin that stuck out when I smiled. But most of all, I hated the way I looked because I knew I was the heaviest weight I had ever been in my entire life.
Alyssa talks down about her appearance a lot in her videos. This is despite having decent features like strawberry blonde hair, blue eyes, and vibrant skin. She could easily be considered attractive by most people if she just stopped wearing those grandma glasses, picked better clothes, learned how to style her hair instead of always leaving it flat to her head with maximum forehead showing, and watched some makeup tutorials. Now, it's kind of hard to see what she's talking about when it comes to the dress, so let's Google an actual photo of that dress, and holy shit, that is bad. Why did she think this would look good? Whoever animated this scene did not do that dress justice. The purpose of good fashion is to highlight your good features and downplay your bad features. You do this by using different shapes and colors to draw people's attention towards what you want them to look at. If my upper body looks better than my lower body, I can easily draw attention to my upper body by wearing brighter colors on top and darker colors on my legs. Side note, if you're trying to lose weight and for some reason you insist on keeping junk food around, then you can pretty heavily reduce how much you eat of it by merely keeping it out of eyesight. With that said, Alyssa gave us two things that she didn't want people to focus on. One was her weight and the other was her legs. Well, all that weird stuff going on in the middle of her dress immediately causes me to focus on her stomach, and the overall design of the dress ends up making her look bigger than she actually is. Second, while you can't see it well in the picture, the animation shows that the dress has a break in it, which brings attention to the legs. Last, if you look closely, you can see the dress is see-through. Why would you pick a see-through dress with an opening in it if you don't want people to focus on your legs? I mean, this whole outfit causes people to laser focus on things she doesn't want them looking at, and it appears that there is no intention behind why she's wearing that dress. It looks like she picked something out that she randomly thought was interesting and creative without asking, would this actually look good on me? How do you draw people for a living but don't know fashion? This girl has millions of followers, yet if you saw her out in public, you'd be afraid that she's about to pester you for spare change. She has the fashion sense and physical self-awareness of Abby Shapiro. Instead of wallowing in depression about how you look on camera with an unflattering angle, an unflattering pose, and a bad outfit, why not work on the things that are causing you insecurity? Well, the good news is that Alyssa actually does do that and tries to improve her appearance with diet and exercise.
I get what he's trying to do by giving her fashion advice, and I don't think it's done maliciously, especially because he was also complimenting her.
Alyssa talks down about her appearance a lot in her videos. This is despite having decent features like strawberry blonde hair, blue eyes, and vibrant skin. She could easily be considered attractive by most people.
But personally, I thought that segment describing her looks was weird and unnecessary. I also thought it was a bit weird for Think Before You Sleep to try and dig through her social media posts to determine her exact diet.
Now, people who are bad at weight loss tend to be terrible at assessing the impact of what they're eating and how many calories are in their food, so now I have to do some investigating to find out what Alyssa's eating habits are. After scrolling down through her community tab, the only thing I was able to see her eating was ice cream. Strike one. In fact, I've only ever really seen her show herself with processed junk food. Here's her with McDonald's. We had the Frappuccino/adult milkshake ad from earlier. Here's a picture of her grabbing Frosted Flakes. Newsflash, cereal is not healthy. Next, at the end of the weight loss video, she shows this picture of a shopping cart full of what I assume she thinks is reasonably healthy food. We have a giant piece of bread, sour cream and onion potato chips, processed meat, canned tuna, and more sugary cereal, Trix and Frosted Flakes again. Does she know that most of this is junk food and eating stuff like this will make it much harder for her to lose weight?
I don't think trying to base her regular meals off community posts are reliable because of how she rarely posts about food, and unless Illy posts her meal plans, which isn't going to happen, we can't conclusively determine her diet based on a couple posts. Now, Youtubedrama got a hold of this, obviously, and their response was extremely predictable and on par for the course. They started off with their typical insults of, oh, this person is an alt-right grifter, blah blah blah, incel, blah blah blah, fatphobic, etc, etc. While I do think that Think Before You Sleep is undoubtedly right-wing, there is nothing I've seen from his content that is close to being alt-right, and at least his thought process is extremely clear to see. Also, I'm laughing at Redditors getting upset at someone being allegedly fatphobic. What? Did TBYS's opinion of fat people strike a flab with you? Maybe it jiggled a bit too? Now, like I said before, when Illy tried to flag down TBYS's video, there were also other content creators who sided with TBYS because false flagging is stupid. TBYS could have had the dumbest points imaginable, just drooling all over the mic, and I would still side with him because false flagging sucks. Now, r/Youtubedrama did not like this one bit, with multiple posts complaining about YouTubers siding with TBYS. The comments are Redditors mauling that YouTubers for some reason don't side with mass flaggers. The comments on those posts are just shitting on the other YouTubers, calling them losers and all, blah blah blah. Nothing special. But I still can't get over this comment where some dude made a timeline chart about what creators would/will cover this drama, which is just the most terminally online thing I think I've seen today. Holy shit, go outside and stop cock-watching YouTubers.
Commentary channels join into the drama of IllyAnimation and TBYS, taking the side of the alt-right grifter. Does anyone... I haven't heard anything about this drama. Like, I literally have no idea what this is. Does anyone know what this is? The commentary community has a bad case of taking things out of context or making things look worse. Who are these commentary YouTubers? At this point, anyone backing TBYS is mask-off, fatphobic, and misogynistic. These are our viewers, by the way. No, they're not. Alt-right boogeyman? Wait, does anyone know anything about this? Like, what is this? Who are the drama YouTubers who are covering this? Wait, oh, so what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? This is the timeline chart that I have made from when Nux Taku sided against her. Wait! What the fuck? Wait! No fucking way! Hold on! Wait! I'm so fucking confused, chat. I didn't even know what this... Okay, that was organic. I didn't plan that. We just clicked on this. Wait, hold on. Diesel Patches, IllyMation, Think Before You Sleep, Down, Sensitive Society, Up, Diesel Patches, Achido, Turkey Tom, Boblax, Nick Diorio, Nux Taku, Mudahar, Caleb. Hold on. Who the f thinks that people see me off of Boblax? I take that offensively, okay? Often a night, I am leading the charge of stream numbers. Okay, I don't want to hear this shit. I don't know what the fuck, dude. I didn't even cover it yet. Does that mean Boblax hasn't told me? Boblax, why didn't you inform me about this drama? I'm looking at the chart. You're supposed to tell me about it. That's what we were talking about. How many people have been like,
Bro thinks that there's a YouTuber mafia out there that's gonna put a hit on Illy for being cringe. Fun fact, that same dude who made that timeline message ended up making another post somehow shocked that his public and nutty YouTuber list got mentioned and made fun of in a video. Yeah, when you act all terminally online, you get made fun of. Hope that helps. Maybe, if you don't want people making fun of you, don't post stuff online. It's also funny that OP is choosing to get mad at a video shaming Illy's doxers, which I will get into now. So like I said, Illy got doxed. Now, I personally think that doxing is extremely disgusting to do. Hot take, I know. Even if Illy was trying to get TBYS flagged down because doxing is so much worse. I wish the worst for the doxers, and the reasoning they gave for doxing was absolute dog shit. First point was the false flag, which I already talked about. Doxing is still not okay regardless of a false flag. Second point is promoting fat culture. Again, saying it's okay to be fat isn't dox-worthy, and there's nothing inherently wrong with accepting yourself if you're fat. The final 2 points are the carb partification illness and woke culture, which, again, just because someone has a different opinion, that is not dox-worthy. Also, I looked it up, and there's nothing even remotely indicating that she's trans, so that person is just tweaking. No sane person is defending this insanity, but of course r/Youtubedrama decided to use this tragic news as a method of attacking TBYS. But don't worry guys, a new challenger approaches. Another YouTuber called Noah Samson decided to get involved by releasing a video defending Illy and attacking TBYS, accusing him of doxing and lying in his video. Now Youtubedrama, in their totally rational and non-biased review, glazed Noah Samson over time. Like, seriously, guys, at least wipe your mouth when you're done. It's funny that they gas up Noah as some sort of TBYS killer when he quite simply just sucks. This loser lost his Twitter account because he lied about ChudLogic being a pedo, but I guess that's okay since ChudLogic is an alt-right pipeliner, crypto-fascist, incel chud, according to Youtubedrama. The screenshots that Noah shows directly refute his pedo accusation, since it starts off with Chud asking for her age, and then following up with him saying it's inappropriate to flirt with someone underage or even 18. He even says you should be half your age plus 7. Real pedophile moments right there when you say that flirting should be half your age plus 7. It's real funny that Noah is calling other people pedos when his mustache alone looks like he gets more cupcakes than Jeffrey Epstein ever could get. He also lost the debate to Vosh and got anally gaped in it by the lolly horse porn dude. Imagine being so low on the totem pole that the guy who beats it to goblin horse porn and compares cobalt to child porn is smarter than you. Anyways, Noah made a video and I'm just going to cover the important parts because otherwise we would be here forever.
You may notice a random child throughout the video. That's me. That's me as a boy. It's my new little voiceover avatar thing. I'm trying that out. Hope it's not terrible. Okay.
Please don't. That's super weird. I don't know what possessed you to do this, but I'm guessing you lost your marbles like you lost your Twitter account. This video isn't even at the 10-second mark, man. The main claim that Noah levies against TBYS is that he clipped Illy out of context. The clip in question being about good and bad foods.
A carrot isn't an inherent good food, while chocolate is an inherent bad food. Food is just food, no matter how many calories, carbs, sugars, whatever is in it. Unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow, you should feel free to eat whatever food you want to without beating yourself up about it.
Apparently, because TBYS cut out 5 seconds, that invalidates his whole point.
So one thing I noticed in Sean's video is that there's a funny cut when he shows this clip. Right after the line, no matter how many calories, carbs, and sugars, the video skips just a bit. The s'more changes hands, the boy's blood sugar monitor, that's what this is, it just sort of appears on the chair. There's a break in continuity. So I went back to Illy's actual video and see if you can spot what he decided to cut from this sequence.
No matter how many calories, carbs, sugars, whatever is in it. Unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow, you should feel free to eat whatever food you want to without beating yourself up about it.
So immediately before she says that faded line, eat whatever you want, she added a caveat. She said, unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow. While this line is being delivered, you can also see on the screen that the boy, who has diabetes, is taking a reading of his blood sugar and then gets the green light, so he's good to go for having a s'more with his friends without throwing his blood sugar out of whack. This line, as well as the depiction on screen, is an acknowledgement that there are some exceptions to her statement, which would include, for example, a diabetic person's blood sugar imbalances, or, most importantly for Sean's conclusion, the dietary restrictions recommended to morbidly obese people.
I'm going to be real with you. This changes absolutely nothing. A carrot is still healthier than chocolate. Now, I do think TBYS should have kept this context in. Absolutely. But it doesn't actually change the fact of the matter that some foods are healthier than others. While you can argue that Illy is speaking from a moral perspective, I get it. You don't want to be shamed for eating chocolate. It still doesn't change my argument. If you want to eat morally bad foods, fine. But if we have a person who only eats morally good foods versus morally bad ones, the difference will be very obvious. Listing outliers doesn't mean that a general statement is wrong and changes nothing about the fact that different foods will impact your body differently. There's also a segment where Noah discusses how TBYS talks about Illy's choice of clothing and some other things.
I want to talk about how Sean spends a good amount of his video insulting Illy's appearance under the guise of giving her tips on how to be more attractive.
She could easily be considered attractive by most people if she just stopped wearing those grandma glasses, picked better clothes, learned how to style her hair instead of always leaving it flat to her head with maximum forehead showing, and watched some makeup tutorials.
I want to talk about how he spent what must have been hours digging around her social media accounts to find photos of her eating junk food and of her body at a time when she weighed less in order to accuse her of lying about her diet.
So now I have to do some investigating to find out what Alyssa's eating habits are. After scrolling down through her community tab, the only thing I was able to see her eating was ice cream. Strike one.
I want to talk about how he had to lie for a lot of these insults, like how the very next post on her community tab after the milkshake thing showed her holding a bag of wheat bread, or how the photo he used to insult her fashion sense by saying she dresses like a homeless person.
Holy shit, that is bad. This girl has millions of followers, yet if you saw her out in public, you'd be afraid that she's about to pester you for spare change.
Was taken while she was hiking, and Sean knew that, but cropped out the identifying information so that his audience wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree that TBYS's bit about her clothing was weird and unnecessary. I thought TBYS was tweaking a little, but it doesn't violate any YouTube TOS. Especially since he tried giving fashion advice to her. You can argue that his advice sucks, yeah, but this falls under criticism as he gave his opinion on why her clothing didn't work. And he tried to give her compliments. Everyone's acting like TBYS called Illy a dumb whore or something. Just insult after insult. This was even admitted by a Redditor on Youtubedrama that TBYS criticizes and compliments Illy. But I guess that fact is overlooked now that Daddy Noah is here to spoon feed you morons, because after that video, the comments switched up into, actually, this violates YouTube TOS. Now for the next point, I wanted to talk about the mass flag attempt and the doxing. For the mass flag attempt, Noah tries to argue that it wasn't deplatforming.
Okay, so the second idea that Sean fabricates in his videos is that Illy tried to deplatform him.
Deplatform me, to try and get me deplatform a smaller creator.
Sean calling Illy's report an attempted deplatforming is at best a very uninformed interpretation of the situation, and at worst, dishonest.
I agree with that statement. I also don't believe.
Okay, sure. Based on what I've seen, I don't think Illy wanted to deplatform TBYS. She just wanted to get that one video removed at the very least. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt, but that is still very stupid, and you shouldn't do that as a YouTuber. For the simple reason of it opens you up to false flagging. Noah also claims that since false flagging doesn't auto-delete videos, it doesn't really matter.
So one of the other claims being made to justify this deplatforming accusation is that Illy asked Sean's channel to be mass flagged. She asked her millions of followers to report the video, and this is an especially serious threat to Sean's livelihood.
I told people in her massive 2.5 million person following, my channel is on the line because Alyssa has millions of followers.
But this too is false. In terms of YouTube's review process, mass flagging doesn't actually do anything. The amount of flags that a video receives has no bearing on the reviewer's decisions.
Okay, but the fact remains that Illy was trying to take down the video. If someone tries to kill you with a gun and all their shots miss, they still tried to kill you. The intent is still there and they just suck at shooting. Illy still had the intent to get the video removed even if her plan sucked. Also, mass flagging encourages YouTube to view the video, increasing its takedown chance, which did happen to TBYS's original video on Illy, although it's back up now. There's also a part where Noah mentions that the original post made by Illy to mass flag only got 97 notes, so it's not a big deal.
In the screenshot he shows in his video, Illy's post had 97 notes. 97! That's 0.01% of this supposed army of 2.5 million woke orcs, warks, that actually even interacted with what she said.
He neglects to mention the fact that Illy was trying to be all sneaky about mass flagging it, so clearly she knows that's wrong to some degree if she's trying to sneak around all sneaky peeky like. She also posted it to her Tumblr, where her most dedicated fans are so they'd be more easily convinced to mass flag. For the doxing part, Noah claims that while typically you aren't responsible if shitty things happen, in TBYS's case, he is representing and inciting people to dox.
On the internet, things like doxing and harassment are often treated as natural law. Mean comments are inevitable. Even if you ask people not to, they'll still leave them. If people are going to take things too far, like doxing, then there's not much you can really do to stop it. This seems to be Sean's perspective on the matter.
This comment brigading behavior appears to just be a fact of nature that creators can't control. So really, it's on YouTube to make an interface change that addresses this problem.
The only real exemption from this excuse seems to be when a creator directly asks their audience to harass or dox someone. If that doesn't happen though, then sorry, it's the internet. Now, while that may be the case in some situations, this is not one of them. Sean didn't ask anyone to dox or harass Illy. What he did do, though, is misrepresent and deceptively edit her video in order to conjure ideas which directly motivated the people who did. And when I say directly, I mean directly. We doxed Illy because she tried to get another popular content creator, Think Before You Sleep, taken down by YouTube, all because he made a video rightfully criticizing her. She is also promoting fat culture and how being fit and working out your body is useless and fatphobic. She also promotes that's an anti-trans slur, and woke culture. That was posted on the website that hosted Illy's doxing information. The actual doxing took place on a different website, and the very first post of the original doxing thread shared these same motivations. We need to dox her because she promotes promotes fat culture, she believes in woke bullshit, and when a based YouTuber like Think Before You Sleep called her out, she threw a fit and asked her fans to mass flag his channel to get it deleted. The people harassing her in the comments are motivated by these same ideas. Illy is woke, Illy wants to deplatform Sean, and Illy promotes obesity. These accusations are being repeated across the internet in videos with millions of collective views. They pervade the doxing threads, sprinkled between a sea of death threats, rape threats, and depictions of Illy committing suicide.
Now, Noah shows a dox thread from a site called Soyjack Party. Like I said before, the reasoning they gave for doxing was completely retarded, to put it simply. Trying to take down a video doesn't justify doxing, which is even more disgusting. All in all, these people are tweaking, but I already said that. Also, Soyjack Party is pretty toxic. Turkey Tom tried to do an interview on there, and they considered doxing him for the lulz.
Every YouTuber ever will get doxxed at one point in time, unfortunately. It's an unfortunate reality. It happens to everyone. Even people like Mr. Mediker who try to maintain anonymity, they get doxxed. There's not much you can do about it. Obviously, it should be banned on YouTube, but it's not illegal. And so on websites where it can happen, it will happen. You can feel bad for IllyMation, obviously, but it's still not Think Before You Sleep's fault. I'm sorry. It's not. I know the website that they're talking about, and in fairness, they are, you know, some of them are kind of crazy. Some of them are funny. Some of them are kind of crazy. It's not 4chan. But I remember at one point, I made a post on there because they had liked some of my videos. So I made a self post saying, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A or whatever. I thought it'd be funny. And the comment section then was filled with people who were talking about doxing me, right? This is just kind of like what this website does. It's not Kiwi Farms. And that's not justified. It's not cool that happens on that site sometimes, but like it does happen. And it's not Think Before You Sleep's fault. Just because even if he misrepresented her egregiously, I don't think it's his fault. I'm sorry. I don't.
But let me guess, he's an alt-right crypto-fascist incel chud, so that means his doxing is okay and good. Just to be perfectly clear, the dox on Illy is abhorrent, but to blame TBYS for it, especially when he never advocated for threats/doxing, is out of line and unreasonable to make him responsible for random psychos he didn't even know existed. There have been many internet figures who have been doxed just because, like Dream and Corpse Husband. Both of these people did nothing dox-worthy but still got screwed over. This also ties into the negative comments that Illy got. Guess what? Everyone gets negative comments. Hell, I've gotten some myself. But you have so many ways to moderate them by either blacklisting certain words or deleting the comments yourself, which is your right to do on your channel. Everyone would have forgotten about this video in a week and moved on to greener pastures, but false flagging caused the situation to flare up. Noah even has the audacity to act like somehow ignoring the video was a bad thing.
I have seen it suggested by some creators that in this situation and situations like these, creators only have two options.
Either A, make a response video to the response video towards your original video, or B, ignore it and move on.
Who cares if people are mean to you online? Just ignore it. Or respond to it and make content out of it, you know?
Yo, guess what would have happened if Illy ignored it and moved on? Nothing! Soyjack Party wouldn't have picked up on her since the video strike never happened, so she would have never been doxxed, and everyone else would have fucked off in a week. While the doxing is disgusting, the crux of the matter is that her need to respond with an attempted false flag only worsened the situation and brought even more attention to herself, which snowballed into the current situation today. A tragic modern-day tale for YouTubers. The final part that I want to touch upon is Noah's argument that you don't have to see the video to form an opinion on it.
So now we're down to just the final argument, which is that Illy's report was false flagging because she didn't even watch the video before reporting it. She went solely off of her friend's biased summary, and that's a false flag because she didn't even know what he said.
Make sure to not watch it before doing that, by the way.
Go and report his video that I didn't even watch up to that point.
She hasn't even watched.
She didn't even watch the video, and she even said this herself.
This last argument is purely a moral one, right? Because it has no grounds within the guidelines. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't report a video based on a rundown from a trusted source. They don't make you plug in an eye tracker and play the full thing before you click flag. The moral claim here is that you should hear out the criticism. It's the right thing to do. Until you do, you have no idea what he's saying, whether or not it's actually bullying, and who knows? Maybe he has a point. Maybe it's worth listening to. Since this is a strictly moral question, there's no real objective way to answer it, so I'll just give my opinion. No.
I mean, if you're just commenting about it, you might have a case. But when you're asking other people to report it in an attempt to remove the video, then absolutely not. Your first thought hearing that a video is made on you is how to take down their video. You don't even know what he said because you haven't even watched it. Why are you trying to get other people to remove a video when you don't even know what's in it? She didn't watch it and now she's telling people to flag it. I wonder why people are telling her to watch the video. To expand on this though, Noah had a statement about Illy not asking for criticism.
Illy didn't ask for this criticism. His video was totally unsolicited. That doesn't mean I think Sean shouldn't be allowed to make his video, but I also don't think that Illy should be expected to sit through it either.
Yeah, nice contradiction there. Illy didn't ask for criticism, but at the same time, TBYS can still make his video. Outstanding logic. Illy shared her opinion online on a hot topic where everyone is able to see/respond to it. Obviously, people are going to react to her.
Don't mistake my argument here as me saying people should just start flagging videos for no reason just because they don't like someone. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what Illy did.
What even is your point then, man? You try and justify Illy asking other people to flag a video she hasn't seen. You just spent the last minute doing that. Why are you asking people to mass flag a video you haven't even seen yourself?
My point here is simply that the circumstances of this situation, to me, seem clearly within the bounds of a reasonable response.
Yeah, I guess getting mean comments means that you can get people to mass flag a video. Guess what? Everyone gets mean comments. Illy got hate comments when TBYS made his video, and then TBYS got hate comments when you made your video on him. That's just the unfortunate reality when you make a video on someone else. I do love how Noah says Illy didn't ask for criticism from an unsolicited video.
Illy didn't ask for this criticism. His video was totally unsolicited.
Yeah, TBYS digitally raped Illy with his unsolicited video. She didn't consent to this criticism, and he still gave it anyways. No means no, man. Guess it's official. TBYS is an incel, neo-Nazi, crypto-fascist, fatphobic, transphobic rapist now. GG, man. After all of this, TBYS's video on Illy did get removed temporarily, but it is back up now. So I guess it doesn't violate TOS if it got human reviewed and put back up again. But try telling that to r/YouTubedrama. They are still not happy with TBYS, unsurprisingly. Then there's this comment. He basically said I doxed Alyssa in his video title. The title is literally just a pun on his username and the fact she got doxed. Yeah, totally guys, when you see a video called Think Before You Dox, you totally think that it's a pun and not that TBYS doxed her or got her doxed. Noah even admitted in his video that he thinks TBYS is responsible.
If people are going to take things too far, like doxing, then there's not much you can really do to stop it. This seems to be Sean's perspective on the matter. The only real exemption from this excuse seems to be when a creator directly asks their audience to harass or dox someone. If that doesn't happen though, then sorry, it's the internet. Now, while that may be the case in some situations, this is not one of them. Sean didn't ask anyone to dox or harass Illy. What he did do, though, is misrepresent and deceptively edit her video in order to conjure ideas which directly motivated the people who did.
The rest of the comments are just people bashing on TBYS. Nothing new there. All in all, Redditors being dishonest and biased with their views. Must be another day that ends in Y. The next topic I want to talk about is about Mutahar and Keffals. A while back, Mutahar made a video on Keffals that was widely liked, for the most part. As a matter of fact, Muta's video directly led the Young Turks to issue a retraction on their Keffals coverage a while back, so that should speak to the quality of his video. They even recommend that people watch his video.
Now, a streamer by the name of Mutahar investigated Keffals and provided the receipts indicating that she is in fact a fraud. It is a lengthy video and he gets into other issues with Keffals that I'm not gonna get into because we didn't talk about those other issues. But if you wanna watch that video, and I highly recommend you do, you can watch it on his YouTube channel, SomeOrdinaryGamers. We will also link to it in the description box.
However, Keffals did not like the video, for obvious reasons. So, in a desperate last gambit, she pulled some straws from thin air and claimed that the thumbnail was transphobic due to her being drawn ugly. Now, while that is stupid for the very obvious reason that the artist, Just the Worm, draws everyone ugly like that, as that's his art style / gimmick. And some of the people that he's drawn look worse than Keffals. Also, it's not uncommon for thumbnails in videos like these to have the subject looking uglier. Not to mention that Keffals herself used his art in a thumbnail against Vosh, so she has no room to speak. Guess what though? Her desperate gambit actually worked, and immediately a massive wave of people started to defend her. There was a usual crowd on Twitter, oh my bad, X now, that were pushing a false narrative that Mutahar was transphobic, despite the fact that the artist draws everyone that way. The main complaint seems to be that the thumbnail plays into transphobic stereotypes, which is just simply untrue. Just the War made Keffals look more sweaty / disheveled, which again is how he draws people. If you don't believe me, here's a side-by-side comparison of Keffals and the thumbnail art. The only actual difference is that she looks sweatier and dirtier. Any insistence of man features is just people self-owning by admitting that they think that Keffals looks ugly. Youtubedrama was also quick to run with this narrative, deeming the entire video trash and refusing to engage with it, at least on anything more than a surface level. They also call him transphobic for using she/they pronouns of all things, because apparently they is considered misgendering, despite the fact that they is considered gender neutral and Keffals is okay with both of these pronouns. Apparently, there is actual discourse to determine if a gender neutral pronoun is transphobic. Yeah, you guys definitely don't have cancer. When told that Keffals used Just the Worms art of Vosh, Youtubedrama tried to use the excuse that Vosh was cis. Okay, and? Are you saying that you can't draw someone in an unflattering light just because they're trans? Even the artist's whole gimmick is to draw people ugly? Don't trans people want to be equal to everyone else? You shouldn't complain when they get treated the same way that everyone else gets treated. It's only fair after all. What if I told you the thumbnail hate was just an excuse? What if I told you that the real reason why Youtubedrama hates Muda is because he's Indian? Which means that he's Aryan, obviously, but more on that later. Apparently, a good portion of the artist drama was because Just the Worm used kiwi farms. So what? Muda didn't know that when he commissioned, and the art itself isn't transphobic. Besides, I thought Keffals took down kiwi farms, so how could he be a kiwi farmer? Also, Keffals did use the same art against Vosh, so why is no one on her case for using artwork from a quote-unquote transphobic kiwi farmer? It's so disgusting the lengths people went to try and discredit Muda's video based on arbitrary beliefs and their preconceived notions of Muda that don't even relate to the topics that the video brings up, like Keffals scamming 100k, lied about police pointing guns at her face, weird HRT stuff in Catboy Ranch, hypocrite doxer who cries about kiwi farms while doing the exact same shtick, and couldn't even take down kiwi farms, which is the main reason why everyone put up with her. My schizo conspiracy theory is that these people secretly agree with Keffals on her takes. They support the GoFundMe scam, they support lying, and they support the weird ass giving kids DIY HRT unregulated by actual doctors. But they realize that saying all of that is unoptically viable. So they take the cheap route of autistically focusing on small aspects of the video. Just look at this comment where someone tries to justify why Keffals lied so heavily about having guns pointed at her face. I'm not going to read this out, you can pause and read, but this is some insane stuff, to put it simply. These are the types of people that Keffals is appealing to. Naive and or dumb idiots who don't know any better, so they try and justify irrational shitty actions. Perfect embodiment of the sunk cost fallacy. Also, the GoFundMe scam gets more disgusting the more I think about it. Trans people are a marginalized group of people heavily reliant on the goodwill of other people to escape various situations, be it HRT funding or escape from an abusive household, only to have someone abuse that and run off with over 100 grand. You guys should be going in hard on Keffals because she just made it way harder for people to trust these public GoFundMes ever again, which negatively impacts other trans people as people will be less trusting of them after Keffals' stunt. As a result, these people who are heavily dependent on internet stranger goodwill will not be able to get the money that they desperately need. Speaking of GoFundMes, hers is still up. Guess she really does need every dollar. I know that Muda also had the part where he didn't reach out to win. One of the people who was underage having interactions with Keffals during the Catboy Ranch era. He responds on Twitter asking to prove where he made the allegation, and he didn't reach out since the point of that section was to show inappropriate interactions with a minor. Wynn responds by saying how Muda misread implying as alleging and how he actually implied grooming. Dog, you even admit in a follow-up tweet right after how a convo you had with Keffals could be seen as creepy. Sure, let's give you the benefit of the doubt and say that the rest of the tweets are jokes. But considering how Keffals has said stuff like she's going to transgender your children, and did the DIY HRT was Bob posting who boasted about pink-pilling minors, and all the heat from that eventually made Keffals try and hide her involvement with the site, I don't think it's an insane stretch to think that Keffals is at the very least weird as fuck with kids. These comments are still pretty irresponsible. While Youtubedrama is lashing on to this big nothing burger, this situation reminds me of the Lava and Kris Tyson drama, where Kris had inappropriate messages with Lava, but Lava maintained that he wasn't groomed by Kris. We all still gave Kris shit for this, and rightfully so, as the adult should be the responsible one and shut down these inappropriate convos. In this case, Keffals should have been responsible here and shut down her inappropriate convos with minors. But she didn't, so now we're here. Also, the top comment in that thread talking about Muda not reaching out is someone blatantly lying and saying that Dimitri Monroe was the source that Muda cited for his Catboy Ranch Twitter thread. I rewatched the video, and last time I checked, Sorrel does not equal Dimitri, so I guess Redditors can't read now.
On June 23, 2021, a Twitter thread was made exposing Femboy Cooking's Discord server. A user named Sorrel called it an outright den of grooming. The server had roles to identify both adults and minors, and in spite of this, he caught an adult openly flirting with a 13-year-old and calling them a cute little bottom catboy. When confronted, admins defended the server's practice of allowing underage users. Why would we bar minors from the server on the off chance that they'll be groomed? How if they've been taking how if they have been talking about having with men, you can show me where, but your sexuality is a part of you. There's nothing wrong with it. You're kind of the one introducing the adult-oriented element. It's kind of weird. Keffals admits that she was in this server and called the screenshots disgusting. I have absolutely nothing to do with that Discord, and I think that is disgusting. I'll warn people about the Discord. Someone replied, by that you mean you'll leave the Discord. And she said, already did. I wasn't aware or active about any of this until now. Bruh, I was joking. I didn't know you were a part of it. That changed after the person who made the call out got suspended. Clara celebrated the thread's deletion, even though she admitted it had evidence of an adult flirting with a minor. Those are her own words. A just wrote an entire thread seething about me from behind a block and tried to get his followers to dogpile my tweet, and then got suspended. People combed through Femboy's Cooking Discord and discovered an adult flirting with a minor and decided that I am somehow guilty of this. Once again, suspended. This is stunning admission that she helped cover up an adult flirting with a 13-year-old for her own convenience. And there's also no proof that the person who made that thread is a P-word.
The comment also said some insane stuff, like how he allegedly sexted a 16-year-old when he was 19. Sexting in this case meaning flirty Discord messages, no nudes. Is this where we're really at? Calling someone a pedo over a 3-year age gap? I mean, sure, I think it's a little weird to have a 3-year age gap at such a young age, but I'm not gonna get up in arms about it, let alone call someone a pedo for it. Honestly, the worst thing about this are the crusty-ass Discord messages. They be talking about dripping and eating cum. That's some freaky stuff, man. But that's to be expected. I don't think anyone can sex and make it look clean, if I'm being real. That's always gonna look super cringe to outside viewers. This whole situation with Dimitri, who was 19 at the time, and his 16-year-old just reminds me of how John Swan tried to cancel Cammy, who was a small YouTuber that was 18 also sexting a 15-year-old. That wasn't pedophilia either because, shocker shocker, 3-year age gaps don't make you a pedophile. This event made John quit YouTube and disappear over this, so yeah. Neither of these people are pedos. This commenter also tries to say that Dimitri's debunked that he never actually planned to meet with the minor is bad. You do not understand. If you're willing to lie about a sensitive and vital topic as meaning up to fuck someone when you accuse them of being a pedo, when it's very easily disproved, then you shouldn't act surprised that people don't take you seriously. Because if you lie about this, it's gonna put into question all the other things that person is accused of, and now everyone will be wondering if the other stuff is also false. Maybe don't be such a liar next time. As for the lolly stuff...
My son?
Yes?
I'm not touching that with a 60-foot pole. Next caller.
But for real, these Redditors already lied a bunch, so who knows what else they can lie about. There's also the sending softcore porn to minors allegation, but considering how they don't show proof when they do for other claims, even if their proof just sucks, I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be a lie. All I'm saying is way to poison the well, guys.
Jesus Christ, Dimitri, don't talk to people 3 years younger than you!
Will you shut up, man?
Listen. But now we get into the real juicy part, aka why I made this video in the first place. So far, all of the hate and debunking was only limited to Mudahar, but soon his wife got dragged into the mix. Now, Muda's wife got put on Youtubedrama's radar after she responded to quote-unquote transphobic people on her timeline. They try and back up this claim showing a bunch of tweets. Let's look at them, shall we? First image is her saying that making fun of Tipster is based. Yeah, it is. Tipster was a shitty friend whose only beliefs were based off the friend group that he was in. He jumped ship from the commentary bros like Nick, Augie, Boblax, etc. into the Keffals bed. Also, Tipster isn't even trans. That meme is just saying that he's ugly. Second image is her saying no DIY HRT for minors with Shotokan on the box. Yeah, that's true. HRT should be given by a medical professional. This isn't something that you should willy-nilly dose due to health risks. It's not transphobic to say that HRT should only be given by actual medical professionals, and not Wikipedia William. Also, while I can't show the boxes because of YouTube TOS, I have had the misfortune of seeing them, and they are indeed cross-dressing shotas, which is not kosher. Third image is Dojin saying that HRT should only be given by a medical doctor. She gets a response saying that Muda still made a video on Keffals despite knowing what trans people experience online daily. This video is about Keffals, not trans people in general. Obviously, Muda doesn't think the actions of Keffals reflects trans people. Just a 100k GoFundMe scam alone is enough for Keffals to be a shitty person. Jojin's replies to this was Keffals lied to and hurt her own community, and she hid behind being trans, which is true, like how she brought up the thumbnail to deflect criticism. Fourth image is just her saying that Tipster is a beacon for the trans community, at least until Keffals is done with him, which is true. Case in point, when they were both defending Vosh and his lolly horse porn, Keffals dipped and left Tipster out to dry by himself. There's also a comment where she's sarcastically making fun of someone saying that she works with a chud. Final image is her talking with and retweeting Nicholas the Oreo. The post she responds to is Nick showing how Keffals says weird stuff about kids in response to Tipster's post. Yeah, saying that I'm a trans or kids is weird as fuck regardless of how you spin it. Tipster really does have no idea. Also, Nick isn't transphobic. He advocates for people to not misgender Keffals, which is something a transphobe wouldn't do. This same dude also got in a slap fight with Nick on Twitter. And turns out that this dude is so deluded that he thinks that there wasn't Shotokan on the DIY HRT boxes that Keffals promoted. Again, I can't show the images, but those are indeed cross-dressing shotas, which again is not kosher. These Redditors want to be contrarian to Muda and his wife so bad that they deny objective reality. Also, I can't believe that this dude used an ableist slur. r/Youtubedrama. You gonna let this alt-right, crypto-fascist, incel bigot chud post on your subreddit? Was a mouth like that? That's a major yikers moment. So much yikes! Didn't you guys get mad at Mudahar's wife for saying the exact same word? Yeah guys, I know Keffals scammed 100k and his questionable activities with minors, but have you guys considered that the retard word is very hurtful? The way people act about the retard word, you would think that's a disabled person's N-word. Yeah, retard is their word, but you can say rita. Rita, please! But for real, these Redditors are so fucking retarded it hurts. But I guess anything to avoid the fact that Keffals is a shitty person. I've also seen people giving Muda grief for using Kiwi Farms in some of his sources. Yeah guys, I get it, Kiwi Farms sucks and all, and I strongly condemn the fact that doxing is allowed on that site. Stunning and brave, I know. But do any of the Kiwi farmers that Muda cites in his videos actually say anything wrong? Because if they aren't, then I see no reason why Muda shouldn't cite them. Also, Kiwi Farms wasn't even the site that doxed her, it was another site that I won't name here.
There is a website that Destiny and Keffals do not name because they do not want to give it attention. So like them, we will refer to it as Website Zero. Website Zero is what Keffals portrays Kiwi Farms as. Kiwi Farms in reality is just a glorified gossip forum where people like to troll and use slurs. Website Zero, on the other hand, is a coordinated effort by users meant to harass their target, not just online, but in real life as well. And they have been publicly taking credit for much of the harassment towards Keffals. Website Zero has the email that got her swatted. They took credit for the Uber Eats hack. They took credit and explained how they doxed her new address in Ireland when her family was swatted. What website had the full documentation of her family and was actively talking about it at the time? Website Zero. And she's known that they were the real culprits the entire time, trying to silence people who talk about it, admitting in her DMs with Destiny that that site was way more dangerous. Meanwhile, all she did was blame Kiwi Farms for stuff she knows they didn't do.
So after that massive ass nothing burger, you don't think it can get any worse, right? Well, you guys would never guess this in a million years, but I got news for you. Apparently, Dojins is a neo-Nazi now! Some people on Twitter didn't like her support of Mudahar and tried to paint her as a neo-Nazi, which is obviously ridiculous as she's married to an Indian man. Well, r/Youtubedrama has something to say about that. They claim that Dojins is actually a neo-Nazi, and their smoking gun of evidence are two posts jokingly calling her a Nazi. The first dude is someone mockingly saying that she's a Nazi in response to her original tweet. Second dude is also making fun of the Nazi accusation. He even responds in a follow-up thread surprised that people took him seriously. You would think that would be obvious, but you forget that this is Reddit. And as we all know, Redditors are retarded, so they do not understand what a joke is. Just looking at the comments is so depressing. It's just brainless drones taking these tweets at face value. Smartest right-toy couple. Neither of these people are right-wing. Maybe to your BreadTube viewing ass, sure, but when you're so far left, everyone is right-wing to you. Also, dude, a key factor of Nazis is white supremacy. You can't be a Nazi while dating a brown man, and while you can claim cognitive dissonance, it's very obvious that this isn't one of those cases. For starters, your kids would be mixed, which kind of ruins the whole whites-only vibe they have going on. I mean, damn, I can't believe how inclusive Nazis are nowadays. But I guess apparently Dojins is a fetishizer whose only was Muda as a fetish, not for love, and Muda is an honorary Aryan by extension. Completely delusional. But this brings us to the next logical step. Now, since these Redditors are so convinced that Muda's wife is a Nazi, the only logical next step is that Muda himself is a Nazi. Yes, I am not joking. r/Youtubedrama actually believes that the brown dude is a Nazi and wants to gas the Jews and bring back white supremacy. Now it's time for the real insanity to begin.
The Insanity SMP.
We start off with the Indians are the real Aryans with this banner of a post. Now I'm not going to read this out because it's really long, but I think I'll let the main man himself, Mudahar, read this one out. I implore you guys to listen for a good laugh.
Now I'm gonna do a little thing that I don't normally do, and I'm gonna read a whole comment from start to finish, just to bring up how brain dead the discourse was around this video. I got nothing to do with that video. Here I'm gonna read. I have to blur out the name just because the stupid ranch is real. Though alt-rightoids ideologically err in marrying non-Aryans like Semites, Latinx, and Sub-Saharan Africans, Muda and her are a fairly Aryan couple, and I believe Hitler would approve. Crash course on race theory follows. Amateur racists always screw up on this because they're culturally appropriating terms from noble German racism into vulgar American racism. AKA white is good, everything else is bad. Blonde hair and blue eyes are Nordic Aryans. Jen does not have blue eyes, by the way. But among the Aryans, we have diversity, our strength. Kris, I'm not even going to pretend. Half of you guys mess up Indian words. Whatever. Require you to understand PIY and the Aryan migrations. Some Afghanis, English, Celts, Iranians. Iran comes from Aryan, by the way. Japanese honorary, and plenty of other brown hair, brown-eyed, even darker-skinned people, like Italians, are Aryans. Muda is part Aryan because Brahmins are upper caste Indians. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure I've told people that I am Muslim, not in the Hindu section. Again, it shows you the level of racism from this jackass, where he assumes just because I'm from India, I am suddenly Hindu all of a sudden. Maybe look up the country first, okay? But anyways, the Indians come from Indo-Aryan people that derive. Arya is Sanskrit for noble. Though the NSDAP stance on this was Indians have intermixed too much to be pure Aryans, they nonetheless have Aryan blood. So while they may be an interracial couple, Dojangles married Muda because of his Aryan ancestry. This is proven when she talks about the 23andMe test she had him do before dating. Now, I want somebody to... This is like an example. This is a very serious claim. Please find a timestamp of her claiming anywhere in a tweet that she made me do a 23andMe test. I've never fucking done it. I've never given up my genetic data, and neither has she to Google or anyone. You know what the fuck my genetic history would probably be? 99.9% Indian boy. What the Now, where she found Vedic Aryan blood in him, i.e. founder Aryan, her explication of this means she follows NSDAP racialism, obviously a cultured woman. Indians such as Muda were immensely desirable in the Third Reich. God damn! Well, this is why I don't take Reddit seriously, okay? Because this is what happens when you stay unemployed too fucking long. You start doing shit like this. Oh man, I needed that, dude. I swear to God. There hasn't been a goddamn comedy special that's been this fucking funny for a goddamn while, dude. Anyways, let's get back to the video.
Just to prove that I'm not making this insane comment up, here it is on a Reddit comment recovery site. Unsurprisingly, this dude's Reddit account has been suspended. But I guess Mudahar is now Hitler's top guy.
I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do? Adolf Hitler chose me to lead the revolution. I'm an alpha male, okay?
Actually, now that I think about it, he brings up a really good point. As a matter of fact, this touches into some long-forgotten history lore. Did you know that Adolf Hitler was actually called Pajit Hitler? But the Germans whitewashed him because they didn't want a brown person leading their movement. Just to be clear, I mean, where else do you guys think that Hitler got the swastika from? This isn't just one random psycho running their mouth off. Most, if not all of these Redditors unironically believe that Dojins is a neo-Nazi and that Indians are the real Aryans. You guys are all retarded, disgusting rats. There is no TOS on any site that will let me express my true thoughts on you guys. But what I will say right now is that this message and all the other comments was the exact reason why I decided to make this video. But mostly for that original comment. That person needs to gameplay and cue themselves. In-game, of course. The rest of you guys have cancer. Watching you guys argue over whether or not Indians are the real Aryans, instead of focusing on a creepy scammer, is giving me a couple tumors myself. You guys need a job or something. Keffals has scammed 100k from people, repeatedly lied, did DIY HRT shenanigans with Bob posting, a proud pink pillar who is now in jail for robbery, and had weird-ass convos with minors, best case scenario, and this subreddit is more concerned on if Indians are the real Aryans all along. This shit is why Keffals is able to slink away with minimal backlash. Obviously, I understand that some people are just hating on Keffals for the sake of being transphobic, which I disavow, but you guys have the exact opposite problem. You are too afraid of being labeled as transphobic to call out Keffals by yourselves. So instead of admitting the objective fact that Keffals is a bad person, you guys would rather argue about thumbnails and whether or not Indians were the real Aryans all along. Luckily for us though, a left-leaning person has made a Twitter thread basically repeating the same thing Muda said for the GoFundMe scam, as well as Demon Mama also covering Keffals. So now that we have community-approved posters commenting negatively about Keffals, we can all dogpile now! It's community-approved dogpiling time, guys! Optically brainwashed Redditors, what do you expect? These people only care about optics and the truth. Tribalism in a nutshell. And I'm not saying that you can't be biased. Everyone is inherently biased after all. But when you let your biases affect objective reality, that's when it becomes an issue. And this subreddit has demonstrated time and time again that they only care about political tribalism. They only care about their side of the team sports politics. This is why the Keffals controversy blew up so hard. People refused to police her out of fear of being labeled transphobic, so she was able to fester until the wave of her sins blew up sky high, resulting in this massive controversy.
Mr. Beast! Mr. Beast!
While I wanted to end the video on a Keffals segment, the Kris, Tyson, and by extension the Mr. Beast drama broke out in the middle of making this video, so here we go. Kris, or Ava Tyson, was a Mr. Beast friend who rapidly rose to the top until it all came falling down. There are two main reasons that people cite for this downfall: his Shadman interactions and the Discord chats with minors. Starting off with his Shadman connection, Kris had multiple interactions with Shad on Twitter, even going so far as to purchase one of Shadman's pictures and frame it on a wall that Mr. Beast saw. Now, you may be asking, what's wrong with that? Well, Shad is a very messed up individual, to put it lightly. He was banned from an art university for his drawings being a menace to society. Some of the most deranged stuff that I remember him drawing, though, was that very inappropriate art with Keemstar's daughter, Daphne Keem, and Sophie, who were all little kids. All in all, that alone makes him a very disgusting and disturbed individual, to put it lightly. With that being said though, I think it's crazy how Kris is only exposed for this now, when this has been an open secret for years at this point, but no one ever really commented on it. Until now, of course. Hell, one of the first notable people to bring light to this was a big cupcake lover himself. EDP445. He made a video over a year ago talking about Kris looking at Shadman art. Obviously, since it was EDP, the Cupcake Master, no one cared, so Kris was allowed to go free. But can I just say how selfish EDP is? Dude pulled the IRL equivalent of snitching on the other imposter in Sussy Among Us. Bro talking about saving the kids. Yeah, I bet EDP wants to save the kids. Save him for himself! Whoa! Man's really said, if I ain't getting any kids, you ain't getting them either. Dude got caught in hide and seek and said, okay bro, they caught us, we can come out now. But again, no one cared about Kris at this time because A, it was EDP saying this, and B, Kris being trans was extremely controversial at the time, so people chalked it up to trans hate. However, that all changed with Prism42. He released a video on Kris exposing them with the inappropriate Discord messages with Lava while he was 13 and Kris was 20, which I will cover later. The leaked Discord messages also reopened the floodgates with his Shadman connection, effectively pintering Kris. While Prism did bring up a very good talking point with the Discord messages, the way he got this info was incredibly disgusting. Apparently, he hit up Lava 3 times. First time he pretended that he was an anime fan who wanted an interview. Second time tried hitting up Lava through a friend, and the final time through a fake job interview. The first 2 didn't bear fruit, but the third one did, resulting in the leaked DMs. Yeah, leading on a false job interview for someone just to dig up dirt on someone else is scummy as fuck. Especially when the victim has repeatedly stated that they weren't groomed. Prism screwed Lava over for his video. Also, do you have any idea how fucked the job economy is? The audacity to lead someone on with a fake job. Also, this dude tried sending this proof to EDP and Christian of all people just because. Yeah, I'm sure people will believe this story when the Cupcake Master and the motherfucker push it. Out of all the people to signal boost your story, you couldn't have picked better people? You definitely don't have bad motives for releasing this video. Especially when this video was rushed out to try and beat out Mike Klum's EDP documentary, which I don't even know why.
I just want to ask a question. So, I just want to ask, did you have to rush out the video because of Mike Klum's EDP video?
Yes.
So now, not only did you say that you couldn't talk about the issues that you were involved in legally, but you already what you just did right there is imply something.
Like I was saying, EDP and Kris are 2 completely different people aside from some minor stuff. Ayo! But for real, how does Prism think that his Kris vid would compete with the EDP documentary? Those are 2 completely different things. He also had meltdowns when other people questioned him on stream, and overall the only actually good thing he brought to the table was the Discord DMs. So what I'm trying to say is that Prism sucks and I don't trust him even though Kris sucks way more. But back to the Shadman stuff. So after the whole Shadman Kris stuff got out even more than it was over a year ago, this made people wonder that if Shad Spoke was a Mr. Beast friend, who else did he talk to? So this prompted the eggheads over at r/Youtubedrama to compile a list of every YouTuber that has ever interacted with Shad, under the argument that if we're calling out Kris for talking to Shad, then all these other people should be held accountable too. To that, I have to say this is a prime example of whataboutism in a nutshell. For starters, Shadman used to be a massive content creator back in the old days, and at some point if you were a YouTuber you had either heard of him or replied to him at one point, or at the very least had some interaction with him due to his massive popularity at the time. And believe it or not, 1 or 2 message response to him, which is what the vast majority of people did, doesn't mean you support the fucked up shit he drew of them IRL kids. While I know that some of the people on this list have interacted way more heavily than a simple one-off reply, mainly when Chad featured on the Sleepy Cabin podcast, to my knowledge they've all disavowed Chad after him making fucked up art of real-life kids. Unless anyone on that list is so friendly with Shad after they knew of his depraved art of those kids, they shouldn't be crucified for past interactions with him. On that note, I have seen Keem aggressively go after people for formerly talking to Shad over minor details. And while I don't agree with Keem about his arguments and think he's overblowing it, I do sympathize and understand where he's coming from. If I had a kid and some sick freak drew porn of them, I'm airing out their place with 2 grenade launchers with switches. I'm calling in a tactical nuke. Keem has every right to be mad at Shad. This subreddit is forgetting the fact that Kris also had very inappropriate DMs with minors in that private Discord server, and while Lava maintains that he wasn't groomed, which is a whole nother can of worms, on one hand, one could argue that he was groomed and he's simply in denial about it, but on the other, if Lava still insists that he wasn't groomed, then it's his right to do so and who are we to say otherwise? Regardless, this is still best case massively irresponsible and Kris rightfully deserves shit for it, and worst case Kris is a groomer pedo. The sheer number of inappropriate interactions that Kris has had with these little ass 13 and 14 year old squeakers is more than enough for most people to brand her as a pedo. Also, while Lava maintains that he wasn't groomed, and ultimately, if that's how he feels, then sure, he wasn't groomed. But I can't say the same for the other minors that Kris talked to in that server. However, while I don't have a major problem with Lava insisting that he wasn't groomed, I have a problem when you falsely send people to try and get videos mass flagged, which is what Lava did in his initial tweet saying that he wasn't groomed, into Brigade videos saying otherwise, showing a Cheetos and Sensitive Society's videos on Kris. However, there's just one slight problem with this post. A Cheeto and Sensitive Society never talked about lava in the videos shown. The main topic of their videos was about Kris and Shadman, not about lava or the Discord. So lava lied about them to millions of people. He basically just asked a ton of people to comment and brigade videos that don't even talk about him. Now both A Cheeto and Sensitive Society got pissed off at this, and rightfully so, because essentially this lava dude lied about them covering him being groomed when they never even talked about it. Not only that, he also asked people to brigade these videos for something they didn't even do. With that being said, I think the DM Sensitive Society sent lava was really cringe. I understand why he sent it, being massively slandered to a large group of people and all that, but he expressed it in the most cringe way possible. I'm sorry. You ain't gonna do shit to lava, man. But the resident brainlets over at r/Youtubedrama had something to say about it. They posted about lava lying about A Cheeto and Sensitive Society, and immediately their team sports mentality comes into effect. Since they hate A Cheeto and Sensitive Society because they're commentary chuds or something, that means they have to side with lava even though he's lying about their videos. Just looking at the comments is a sight to behold, as usual. Those two will get away with it because they're never punished. Lava lied about their videos. They focused on Kris and Shad and didn't talk about lava. What is there to get away with? Not having their videos falsely brigaded? Another comment talks about how A Cheeto and Sensitive Society acted like victims in this situation. Yeah, they are. Lava lied about them and brigaded their videos, so they are objectively victims in this situation. Maybe don't lie about people and ask people to mass brigade and they wouldn't be victims. Genius. This is why you actually watch the videos before asking people to report them. Noah.
There's nothing in the rules that says you can't report a video based on a rundown from a trusted source. They don't make you plug in an eye tracker and play the full thing before you click flag. The moral claim here is that you should hear out the criticism. It's the right thing to do. Until you do, you have no idea what he's saying, whether or not it's actually bullying, and who knows? Maybe he has a point. Maybe it's worth listening to. Since this is a strictly moral question, there's no real objective way to answer it, so I'll just give my opinion. No.
Otherwise, you run the risk of getting stuff falsely reported and flagged down like these videos. The last comment in this post is someone saying they wouldn't listen to lava, and someone responds with, "Why should we trust drama YouTubers?" At this point, I'm just repeating myself ad nauseum, but Sensitive Society and A Cheeto never talked about lava. His post was based on a lie. But you're just drama tubers who make slop content! Why should lava take the time to look at their videos? Dude, he's advocating for people to falsely harass them to remove their videos for a topic they didn't cover. It's one thing to have a simple opinion on a vid you didn't watch. It's another when you are asking people to mass brigade it. I truly hope you guys never suffer from someone falsely accusing you of something you didn't do to tons of people. That would be a real shame. But back to Kris and Shad. The Shad stuff was already bad enough on its own, but there could have been some sort of explanation, as this info was made public over a year ago with no noticeable backlash until now. But in conjunction with the Discord leaks, yeah, Kris is a freak, get him out, and that's best case scenario. But the ultimate issue that I want to talk about is similar with the Keffals situation, and that is r/Youtubedrama sweeping for Kris in a sense. First, there was a list of YouTubers who had interacted with Shad when in reality, most of these people had a one-off reply and didn't know about some of his other art, diluting Kris's interactions with Shad. Then they started taking down posts related to Kris without any explanation, the most notable example being a post that got taken down for talking about Kris hanging up really weird lolly art on his wall. While I do understand that there is a difference between commission versus bot, commission meaning Kris directly asked for that art to be made, bot means the artwork already existed before the purchase. Why couldn't that have been resolved in a pinned comment? Or resolved privately between a mod/that guy? I think the redundant cop-out is really cheap, and best case, it gives the appearance of sweeping for Kris, and worst case, they are sweeping for Kris like they did with Keffals. At least nobody's talking about Indians being the real Aryans or something this time. This accumulates into this post where someone posts a video talking about how transphobia obscures justice. Obviously, I disavow if anyone is attacking Kris solely based on the fact that she's trans. But at the same time, the only reason why this is so big now is because drama channels widely covered it instead of Cupcake445, so people actually take it seriously. This is just a Keffals situation all over again. Online trans communities don't self-police properly because transphobia, until it's too optically bad to do so and the floodgates open up to the general public. Mudahar went in-depth exposing Keffals, and this subreddit's reaction was to call him and his wife neo-Nazis. I trust the drama channels over you guys in a heartbeat. The only thing I'm going to say before I move on is that if Dr. Disrespect was posting on Reddit talking about lolly gangbang rape porn, you guys would not give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe if Dr. Disrespect became Dr. Misrespect, her inappropriate DMs with a minor would just be considered weird and edgy at best. Now, since we're on the topic of Dr. Disrespect, it's crazy how people are more willing to condemn him than Kris just because internet user number 12345 refers to trans people as car parts. Especially when there's way more evidence of Kris acting inappropriately with minors. With that being said, Doc isn't in the clear either, but there's way more evidence against Kris than Doc at the moment, but people are pussyfooting around Kris. Definitely just not blatant optics pushing, by the way. Also, Doc, if you see this video, you just gotta chop off your wiener and everyone will love you again. Trust. Now, while this drama started off with Kris, it eventually leaked over to Mr. Beast, but that's not really surprising since they used to be really good friends. But Kris's downfall led to people investigating Mr. Beast, and what they found was very, very disturbing. While there are many hard-hitting claims, like with Mr. Beast doing illegal YouTube stream giveaways, although I think he wasn't trying to be malicious, he just didn't know any better, to the very poor treatment of employees, and the fact that Mr. Beast hired a registered sex offender that was the brother of Jake the Viking, who was a former Mr. Beast team member. Side note, can we talk about how stupid Jake is? He immediately started talking shit about Mr. Beast once the Kris drama blew up. Oh, Jimmy knew! Only to be outed as having a sex offender brother and trying to sweep for him. That's right, on one of Mr. Beast's videos, Jake's brother, who was referred to as Delaware, was actually on the sex offender registry. What an embarrassment. Imagine if you just kept your mouth shut and maybe the whole world wouldn't know about your creepy ass brother. To be fair though, this also doesn't reflect well on Jimmy since the sex offender still got hired, but at least Jimmy isn't running his mouth off about Kris with such massive skeletons in his closet. But honestly though, how does he even get hired in the first place? You're telling me you did 0 background checks whatsoever? Regardless though, the best case scenario is that Jimmy was very negligent and didn't do any background checks whatsoever. Worst case, they both knew from the start and openly let a sex offender on set for some twisted purpose. However, considering how Kris knew Delaware, I'm surprised he even got hired in the first place. It's just a shame that Dogpack, the dude spearheading the Exposed Mr. Beast movement right now, covered important events under a massive pile of irrelevant fluff. No, dude. I don't care that Jake Weddle chose to participate in a mentally damaging event of his own free will for $100,000 despite not having any worthy content, and then blowing it all on a failed comedy routine. I can see why Jimmy never featured his challenge in a video. This guy sucks. He's mad on funny and bowed to BBC, Big Beast Cock, taking a $50,000 money shot right to the face. After all of that went down though, he had his first mental breakdown on Instagram. Then his girl was mass DMing people weird shit behind Discord alts. Finally, he had yet another mental breakdown on Instagram. In conclusion, Jake Weddle is a bit erratic. It's a shame too because Dogpack does bring up some actually good points in his videos, like Jimmy allegedly mistreating his workers and letting the registered sex offender on a video, or in his new video where he talks about LaQuoya Hill. But then he poisons the well with so much dumb shit that nobody cares about. I don't care that Mr. Beast edits his videos like it's reality television. Why'd you say that before to having a sex offender in a video part? Even in his last video, he tries accusing James Warren, the secret CEO of Mr. Beast, of domestic abuse, only for it to turn out that wasn't true. Imagine if you waited for the court info to release before going forwards. Dogpack even admits this in his apology tweet. This dude needs to pass the exposing Mr. Beast torch to someone else, because he's clearly not ready for it. This brings me into the next point. Now, like I said before, while there are many good points brought up against Kris Tyson and Mr. Beast, you have to sift through so much irrelevant slop that doesn't really matter. Like for instance, this woman who dated Kris talked about giving Kris oral but Kris didn't reciprocate. Yeah, I don't care that Kris is selfish in bed or something. You weren't raped or groomed, so I don't care. You're just yapping for the sake of yapping. But now for some other irrelevant comments about Mr. Beast. First off, we had the hide-and-seek reject lady, who is still totally not mad that she wasn't funny enough to be prominently featured in said video, posted a clip of all the moments where old Jimmy was being edgy and slurring left and right. Yeah, compared to allegedly mistreating workers / hiring sex offenders, I don't care that he said he would buy black for $300 in 2016 or whatever, when there's actually stuff to give him hell for right now. Those clips you showed are probably older than the average Mr. Beast viewer. I can see why Jimmy cut you out of the hide-and-seek video. You're a mad vapid. Her role in this drama was to basically A-log Mr. Beast. But it reached a tipping point when she did a collab with Dogpack, and for lack of a better phrase, they downloaded and reviewed what they believed to be child porn of 13-year-old Ivanka Trump for YouTube, blasting it out to millions of people and putting said CP in the thumbnail. They were even bold enough to test out different versions of that thumbnail. Very deranged and worrying, if you ask me. Are we really so desperate to own Mr. Beast that we're blasting out what we believe to be child porn for millions to see? Go back to shit on Lunchly or something. So Rosanna and Dogpack clearly are mentally deficient, and the only thing saving them from being arrested and jailed is that, luckily, the picture isn't actually of a 13-year-old. She was an adult at the time of this picture. But they didn't know that before making the video. Look at these dudes! Not a single comprehensive thought in those eyes. My reaction when free CP? COD points? They need to lay off the fluoridated tap water. Also, when Rosanna isn't busy A-logging Mr. Beast, she's posting about WikiFeet and smoking her dead father's ashes or whatever. Complete mental basket case. As for Dogpack, he also lost so much credibility. Don't get me wrong, it was already eroded with that false accusation against James Warren. But the Ivanka Trump incident sealed the deal for a lot of people, and shortly after that, a video on Dogpack was made by Soggy Cereal, who covered all of the mistakes that Dogpack made in his endless crusade against the Beast. While I'm not going to cover the full video as that would take too long and I don't want to rush this segment, I highly recommend watching it as this video exposes so many lies that Dogpack said in his endless war against Mr. Beast. Some of the stuff that Dogpack did, I was surprised at how negligent and or malicious he was. The only downside I would say this video has are the Mr. Beast employee interviews being potentially funded by the big man himself, or at the very least thus paying his flights. But considering how Soggy has a segment in his video to show how this video isn't to excuse Mr. Beast, and supports comments of people saying the same thing, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's naive. However, in good fashion, r/Youtubedrama has something to say about that. When word of Soggy's video spread around, it obviously got picked up in that subreddit, but they couldn't have anything making Mr. Beast seem good even if the video wasn't for Jimmy. Oh no. A mod made a discussion thread to talk about this video, which normally would be fine, but they immediately try and poison the well by saying how this video has some weird stuff in it, immediately trying to discredit Soggy Cereal before people can see the video. One of the things cited against this video was Mr. Beast commenting, "Yeah, I don't think Jimmy should have from a professional viewpoint." Now, that's not Soggy's fault. He didn't mind control Jimmy to commenting. And again, the main purpose of this video is exposing Dogpack, not exonerating Mr. Beast. Maybe Dogpack should have been a dishonest little liar. Have you guys ever considered that? Then there's also the downplaying Jake Weddle part. No, he didn't. He had an interview with an employee who talked about Jake and openly acknowledged how Jake could have been negatively affected by the challenge.
Can you talk a bit about, like, since you were friends with Jake Weddle, did he talk about it afterwards, or do you know, like, how it came to be that he had such a rough time in that challenge, in that isolation challenge?
Again, I didn't work on the video, so all I can do is I can kind of speculate. So I'll answer you by saying the process we normally go through when we cast. We usually find someone who we think is going to be good for a video, and we usually work with them leading up to the video, letting them know not exactly the challenges that we're going to be doing, but round about the level of difficulty that challenges are going to be, and then we kind of lay out the challenge, right? We'd never really had that issue up to that point, and we haven't ever had that issue since that point. You know, we've even done videos like the Trap Together video that had really similar aspects to the video Jake was in, and they had a positive experience after the fact. I mean, it was a tough challenge for them, but they released these videos after the fact. Now, that doesn't take away the way that Jake felt in that video, and I would never do that. You know, I saw the guy; he was not doing so hot. You know, and I don't know what happened in there specifically to make that happen. I don't, you know, I know Jake. He's not lying when he said he had a bad time. You know, I don't want to say that it was 100% Jake is the reason that challenge didn't turn out the way that it was supposed to turn out. Some people approach challenges just completely different, and that's the thing is, my brain tells me that if other people have gone through similar challenges and they've turned out okay, then maybe it's not the challenge. And I'm not the type of person that holds grudges. And I know I still work here now, and I know he's still making videos, and I know people, like, I have friends that are like, I can't believe you're still talking to Jake Weddle. And I'm like, you know, in 10 years, none of this is going to matter between him and I. And I'm sure we'll have a beer together because it's, in the grand scheme of things, my friendship with him is more important than anything anybody's going to say online.
However, at the same time, Jake Weddle has been acting very erratic, claiming Mr. Beast needs to compensate him and then turning down most of his payment and posting other unhinged stuff online. That's a Jake problem. Oh, never mind, Soggy changed the title a bunch in his videos, so clearly all the information in there is fake and gay. The overall complaint against Soggy's video, though, is that it's biased, which is hilarious considering how Soggy has disavowed Mr. Beast multiple times. even when Jimmy was promoting his video behind the scenes. Dogpack is still a screw up, and it's funny how the same people who would talk about bias from Talking Zero type out shit like, I don't trust anything that comes out of his mouth because he worked with massive YouTuber Logan Paul, who is a crypto scammer. Okay, what about the stuff that isn't related to crypto? Are you still going to be biased about that? Does that excuse all of the lies spread out Mr. Beast, or are you too biased to realize this? Crazy how people had no issues with disgruntled ex-employees spreading misinfo en masse because it fit their desires, but now that there's pushback against it, now you guys care about bias? Get out of here! The last two major events in the Mr. Beast drama is the Oompaville interview and the crypto scam allegations. Starting off, after the Soggy Cereal video, Mr. Beast eventually did an interview with Oompaville. Overall, while Jimmy did clear up a bunch of smaller points, he didn't properly address the main damning allegation that still lingers against him, which is the crypto scamming accusations. The video also felt kind of weak too, because it feels more like a retrospective look at the drama than hard-hitting questions. But Oompaville's interview with Dogpack was also pretty weak, so it balances out, I guess. The final main event was the crypto scamming allegations, which CoffeeZilla covered. While in the first video Coffee made on Mr. Beast, Coffee just lists out the crypto scam allegations, and states that whether or not you think Jimmy's a crypto scammer depends on if you like him or not. Although it was a caveat that what Mr. Beast did was shady.
This story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What Mr. Beast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you. If you love Mr. Beast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate Mr. Beast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money. So already, this story is difficult.
However, the next video he made was a lot more critical of Mr. Beast. Although notably, he still doesn't think that Jimmy is a crypto scammer, just kind of shady/questionable. Honestly, I agree with Coffee on both videos. Jimmy had the benefit of the doubt on the first one, and after the Oompaville interview, his refusal to take accountability for mistakes definitely paints him in a bad light. Ultimately, I don't think Jimmy is a pump and dump type of guy, but there is some shady stuff he's done with crypto that he should own up to instead of deflecting. Overall, the whole Mr. Beast drama kinda gives me the same vibes as back when Dream was in hot water himself. While Jimmy seems to have actually done more bad things compared to Dream, they both have overlapping themes of people just peddling blatantly false info against them and the people running with it just because they are public enemy number one. The Dream drama was crazy as how people would just blatantly lie against him and it was accepted because he was hated. Prime example of no bad methods, only bad targets. Again, I think Jimmy needs to explain himself / be held accountable for some things, but maliciously lying about him is not the way to handle it, or diluting the water with pointless claims. Speaking of pointless claims, here are some other irrelevant claims online about Jimmy that are only getting traction since he's getting dogpiled right now, which lets all of the clout bums come out of the woodwork and spew their irrelevant garbage on why Jimmy sucks. Guess what, man? I don't care that he has a slowing progress bar for ads. I don't care that some of his props are fakes that is based off external activation from a third party. I don't care if he used CGI. And I don't care that he N-bombed in 2016. I understand that Mr. Beast is a massive creator and there will be people who just spam stuff at the wall when he's catching all this flack just to see what will stick. But please only focus on the actual serious stuff. You only serve to make people uninterested in this drama, making it less likely that people will notice when serious accusations against Mr. Beast come out. But ultimately, I am not surprised by these turn of events though. Large titans falling down attract all sorts of people to come out of the woodwork against them for clout. Some of these accusations are good and justified, others, not so much. All the false information spread out Jimmy gives him an easy out to focus on that and deflect away from more damning matters, which we have seen a little bit in the Oompaville interview, especially in regards to crypto. What I will say right now is that I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Beast makes another public response. He focuses primarily on the weaker points brought forth and uses that to smokescreen from the more severe points that actually deserve some explanation. Ultimately though, I am done and tired with the Mr. Beast drama. All the important people have already played out their hands and everyone else is just yapping and probably don't have anything substantial to bring to the table. The main takeaway I'm trying to say is that stuff like this will always happen, and while you can try and talk about it, ultimately this cycle will keep happening every time a notable person gets in hot water and we just gotta suck it up. GG, man. In conclusion, instead of an Indian, I think Mr. Beast is a real Aryan here. trying to use Feastables and Lunchly to radicalize his audience into becoming Nazis. In conclusion, what did we learn about Reddit and r/YouTubedrama by extension? Aside from them encapsulating the reasons why people hate Reddit, it serves as a reminder to people what happens when you let tribalism impact your thinking. They give people they politically agree with a pass despite all the shitty things they've done to only chuds. Look no further than how they glazed up In Praise of Shadows for its horrendous points on Wendigoon and other content creators. Or how they defend Keffals by arguing about if Indians were the real Aryans all along. Or how they A-logged internet historian to be a neo-Nazi because he didn't cite a source in one of his videos. They're still doing it now, by the way. You know the average person just calls him internet historian, right? I know your favorite reformed crypto-fascist chud, now breadtuber H-bomber guy exposed internet historian for the crime of not properly citing his sources in a high-production video. But come on now! We don't have to get all tryhardy with the insults. I know biased group thinking and Reddit go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, but there are so many facts here that they choose to ignore in order to pursue their own agendas. Whether that's done because of simple ignorance or sheer malice is up to you guys. On that note, here's some bonus stuff that I didn't feel like fit anywhere else in the video. Maybe the subreddit users have gotten a bit less biased than normal. Oh, look at that, they're calling Mr. T Lexified pedo for dating someone 3 years younger than him. Yo, morons, a 3-year age gap isn't pedophilia. As for the other stuff, for the choking part, Reagan admits to, quote, threw the broken tray at Lex's back out of self-defense.
No fight will ever compare to the one that we had on the night of March 14th, 2021. This was the night that Lex first choked me by my neck with his bare hands. On March 14th, 2021, Lex and I were going at it verbally.
I'm thinking like Bart Simpson.
I was rolling a joint on a tray and sitting down on a couch of the Airbnb. Lex was getting heated with me as I was calmly rolling my tray, and during the argument, Lex stopped mid-sentence and goes, "That's my weed. I paid for that." Lex lunged forward to me and proceeded to try to take the tray out of my hands. He fought with me for about 5 seconds before the tray inevitably broke in half. I threw the broken tray at Lex's back out of self-defense.
First off, how do you even do self-defense by attacking someone in the back? This just serves to support Lex's self-defense story, for the simple reason that you cannot do self-defense by attacking someone in the back. As for the 13-year-old minor, I think talking about relationship stuff with her is inappropriate, but it is important to note that there is no mention of Lex ever being sexual with her. So while I do think that's really weird and Lex should definitely be criticized for that, considering how Reagan has been front-loading all of her accusations with rapist, groomer, pedophile, trying to imply that Lex is a pedo based off this feels really misleading and feels kind of weird. So basically this is bad, but this isn't pedophile bad, which is the main topic of debate for Lex. Also, you guys are aware that Reagan posted child porn in her response to Lex, right? I'm not joking, by the way. This woman really thought putting CP in her video was a good idea. Granted it was censored, but you still can't do that for reasons I hope I don't have to explain.
The show is from the date that Lex, Adrian, and I won first raped me.
What is she? I don't know if she's going to show. Hold on. I'm so scared about what she's putting up on the stream. 1 second.
That would be great. I know that you guys saw those hickeys on Lex's neck. You guys saw that interaction. I also have some images of the hickeys that I gave Lex, as well as myself. The next photo I'm going to show is from the date that Lex, Adrian, and I won first raped me through penetration. He raped me at the Sheraton Gateway, Los Angeles, and he even confirms this himself in a Twitter DM to me.
So in the Twitter DMs, he just talks about how they first fucked. I like August 31st because that was the first day we fucked and the first day I called you. It's the same hotel we fucked in. Okay.
First raped me through penetration. He raped me at the Sheraton Gateway, Los Angeles, and he even confirms this himself in a Twitter DM to me. I'd like to add a trigger warning before showing this image because it shows a child being raped. It shows
Jesus Christ! What?
Mine and Lex's faces. In this image, you can see 19-year-old Lex, Adrian, I won, sucking on my 16-year-old breasts.
Why would you put these in a video? What the fuck? It's blurred, but like, I'm pretty sure this is child porn. What are you doing?
If we're going by legal terms, she should be charged with possession, having the images in the first place, and distribution of CP when she re-uploaded them edited onto YouTube. In addition, you could also argue that this constitutes as revenge porn, since it involves her and Lex. Personally though, I know that our video is about a Call of Duty YouTuber, but you can't be giving out free COD points like that. They also got mad at Asmongold for saying the dreaded R slur, aka the retard word. Yeah, you guys are retarded. It must have been a slow news day if you guys were posting stuff like this. Out of all the things to get mad at Asmon for, like his terrible hygiene, you choose to get mad at him for saying retard, which is a fairly common online word. The comments are so funny too because the way these Redditors are acting, you would have thought that he burnt a cross in front of a black family while wearing a pointed ghost costume and screaming the N-word. You guys are writing essays over a common internet word. Holy shit, go outside. Just to hammer in how much these Redditors hate the R slur, they also went grave digging and dug up Donovan in order to stir controversy to get one over the ableist crypto-fascist alt-right incel bigots. For some context, Donovan, aka Crypt Daddy, was a disabled comedian who tragically passed away, but apparently before he died, he was harassing a neurodivergent minor with Ricky Berwick. Now I'm sure that this subreddit has definite hard-hitting proof to back this up and is not overreaching to fit some narrative. So let's take a look at these screenshots. Okay, I looked at the screenshots and now I feel bad for the neurodivergent minor for receiving such hateful, violent words such as "Can toenail be a slur?" "Grow some balls," and "Cope infant." I completely relate to this kid about receiving mass hate. When I was a neurodivergent minor myself, some dude called me a poopy head pussy online and I ended up slitting my wrists and almost bled out in the bathtub. Tragic stuff about bullying neurodivergent minors online. I hope all of these ableist internet bigot trolls can reflect on how their words hurt. But are you guys actually serious? You call playground insults like "grow some balls" and "cope" to be hateful bullying? The way you guys were going on in the comments, you would have thought that Ricky and Donovan fans were posting this kid's full docs info and sending ISIS beheading gains after him, and not whatever these softball insults are. Most people would kill to have these insults be the strongest thing they hear against them. Leave it to Redditors to get all pissy over nothing. To top it off, the comments that Ricky and Donovan made towards the kid isn't even bad. Ricky's convo basically goes like this. Retard is a slur. Retard is not a slur. Real violent and hateful talk right there. As for Donovan, he just said there was stuff behind the scenes to end probably Ricky and asked about a slur against who. Clearly very hateful stuff here. Crazy how these basic singular exchanges are considered harassment and bullying. Also notice how both Ricky and Donovan didn't say anything insulting towards that kid. The sad part is that these Redditors are actually serious. It's harassment to have people reply to you as basic ass insults. Sure, you can argue that kid is just a neurodivergent minor, but guess what? It's the internet. At any time, anyone is subject to being dunked on and peppered with replies. That's just how it works. And considering some of the other interactions online that I've seen, this is nothing. He just got a low roll that day. Also, if you do not want people replying to you, have you considered not posting online? People kind of can't reply to what they don't see. Imagine grave digging up someone just because you had an issue with them that you greatly over-exaggerated for some upvotes. What, did you not hit your upvote quota for the week? Truly sad stuff. Absolutely disappointing. You guys are definitely retarded for that. Okay, that was the end of my mini bonus segment. Now, where was I? Oh yes, so as I was saying, r/Youtubedrama is horribly biased to the point of getting basic facts wrong and then proceeding to double down on it. Now, I can already predict their one-dimensional response of calling me a crypto-fascist, neo-Nazi, ableist monster, alt-right pipelining, incel bigot chud or whatever, and how I hate the woke left or something. No, there is nothing inherently wrong with being left-wing or having biases, dare I say, as everyone is biased to some degree. But when you let your biases affect your perception on inherent facts, that's when it becomes an issue. In conclusion, Reddit, not even once. That's all I have to say. See ya.